Well, good morning, at least if you're here in the UK. Over where you are, though, I'd imagine if you're in Australia, it is good evening. Big warm welcome back to the Oceania F1 Invitational, but not as you might have known it. We are now here presenting the first ever nationally sanctioned F1 competition outside of F1 sim racing on the F1 game, that being F1 25, brought to you, of course, by EA Sports, the Motorsport Australia OFI Cup. George Morgan here in the commentary box once again, and I can't wait. And joining me once more, Matthew Carlson. Matthew, welcome back. Of course, it's been a little while since we shared a box together, but we're back here on Australian soil, virtually, of course. But nonetheless, it's going to be a thrill ride, I'm sure.
Absolutely, George. I'm really looking forward to this. I think Slammer has put together a fantastic lineup of drivers, mate, and what a better way to start it than here in Australia as well, over at Albert Park. It should be an absolutely fantastic event, mate. I can't wait to get into it.
It's going to be fantastic. And obviously, folks, we've got a massive array of talents now looking to make their way through and through the realms of the single-seater rostrum, heading through the tiered systems, whether it be league racing through the European leagues or whether it be through the oceanic regions as well. Of course, remember, the OFI made up of several different league organisations that produce talent that eventually look to rise to the top. We're here to discover who's going to rise to the top this time. We've got plenty of new names, plenty of old faces, familiar legends like Jack Humphreys, Gregory Prisbill, Oscar King, Ryan Bell, Marcus Costa, Ryan Cox. Of course, those names already prior winners here in the OFI Championships. But now, looking ahead to this evening, of course, why don't we take a look at the canvas, the very figment of where we're racing here this evening. Of course, it's Melbourne, Australia. We are racing here at the Albert Park circuit, 5.278 kilometres in length. That equates to 3.280 miles, 14 turns. This circuit has been in existence, of course, since 1953, the 20th of November. It was closed, though, on the 30th of November 1958, but came back to life on the 7th of March 1996 to take away the Australian Grand Prix from Adelaide, situated in Melbourne. And of course, it does provide a spectacle, especially when it's the first round of any Formula One World Championship. Only once have we raced here in the past, and that was, of course, when pole sitter Ryan Bell could not complete the lights to flag. It is Ryan Cox who went on to win the race last time. Of course, we've had 6 events of the OFI in the past, and only once have we prior raced at Melbourne, which sounds bizarre, really, when you think about it, but it's no less true. A thrilling circuit, though, here, Matty boy.
Yeah, thrilling circuit. I think there's a lot of opportunity for safety cars. There's a lot of opportunity for a lot of passing as well down Lakeside Drive. And Ryan Cox, like you said, previous winner. Of course, I don't think Oscar King was there that day either. So Oscar King has got Ryan's number in our local league over at Rapid Racing Leagues. It'll be interesting to see if those two battle it out up front, or the likes of people like Jack Humphreys or, like you said, Greg Prisbill will come through and take the win tonight. It's going to be a cracker.
It certainly will be. Let's take a look at the calendar, of course, folks. It's not just Melbourne that we'll be heading to through the course of this championship. Of course, round 2 will present us with Losail, of course, home of the Qatar Grand Prix. We then move into round 3 territory with Canada. We head to the capital of Montreal. Then into round 4, we go to the region of Emilia-Romagna, Imola, next on our list on the 23rd of October. Following that, we head to the UK. We're at Silverstone, the Earl Grey of World Motorsports, on the 30th of October. 13th of November, it's Spa-Francorchamps. We head to the Ardennes. Then round 7, we go to Austin, Texas. Followed up then with round 8, a trip to Mexico City. And then Brazil lines up for round 9 at Interlagos. And then the grand finale on the 11th of December. And it will feature Yas Marina, of course, home of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and grand finale on any F1 calendar, generally speaking. Of course, remember, all times are Sydney, Melbourne time, so that just to keep you up to date with everything concerning the time zones. Of course, all the races being brought to you at 7:30 local time, so you should be in for a treat. You don't want to miss out, obviously. It's going to be a tremendous season ahead. Now, in terms of the season's grid, let's go through it. Of course, kicking things off with McLaren, Jack Humphreys and Viper lining up for the season. Oscar King, of course, now recently been acquired by Ferrari themselves to manage the likes of Barry Burremand and also Ishmael Fassi. So engineer for them. He's racing in this series and is a former winner 3 times to be precise, but 1 behind Jack Humphreys, who has the most wins here in the OFI. Sebastian King, Oscar King's younger brother, lining up alongside him at Ferrari as well. The question is, will the Kings become king come the end of the season? Gregory Prisbell, one of the all-time podium sitters with 7 against his name in the Red Bull alongside Matt Pleavy. Marcus Costa, also a former race winner in the OFI at the same time alongside F1 Ferrari Pro. Ryan Bell, another legend of the past, 2 times a race winner already, 5 times a podium sitter, twice a pole sitter, lines up alongside Thomas McInnes. Campbell Adams will line up in the Alpine, also a formidable force behind the wheel of Enny Simrig, twice a podium sitter in his own right. He lines up alongside Miauzi. Then we have Auxilio and Websey in Haas. Then Riley McKay, MJ Roller in Racing Bulls. Of course, Riley McKay also responsible for some decent performances. Still yet to take his first win, though, in the OFI. 3 times a podium sitter. Has gone close. 4 times a pole sitter. Lights to flag is a problem for Riley McKay, but let's see if he can turn it around. MJ Roller alongside him. Potato 101 alongside Yusuf Syed as well at Williams. And then Ryan Cox and Joshua Lee join forces. Ryan Cox, also a former winner. Only 1 podium he has taken, and that podium was a victory. In terms of tonight's grid in itself, we have had a few reserves step in. Alpine, it's a blanket of reserves stepping in with Jay Cash Mash lining up alongside Joey Snarf. We then have ACW 132 stepping in the Haas as well at the same time, and Williams are going to have Flubber lining up alongside Potato 101 here this time too. So that is your grid for tonight, folks, and we'll look ahead to qualifying coming up very shortly. What's your thoughts on the grid, though, at the end of the day, Matt? Very keen to get your take on it. Obviously, some fascinating drivers, some coming in for the first time, and also some regular faces.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Like you said, I mean, Oscar King, Jack Humphreys, Ryan Cox. I think that's going to be a great battle tonight as well. Gregory Prusable as well. Obviously, he had a great OFI last event out. And then on the flip side of the coin as well, we've got some reserves coming in that are OFI newbies, as you like, making their debuts. And it's a great opportunity for them as well to put their mark, I think, on the OFI Cup. Put their mark on this Racing Cup as well and get their name out there. So really big opportunity for those guys. Yeah,
and obviously to highlight some of the event winners as well. Jack Humphreys, a 3-time event winner here in the OFI as well at the same time. Won sequentially event 2, 3 and 4. Ryan Bell, winner of the very first event. And of course we had Ryan Cox, winner of event 5. Gregory Prisbell, the defending champion, dare I say, coming into this one as well. So quite a fascinating outlay. I mean, 4 different champions. I mean, that's quite significant. Obviously, Jack Humphreys, the only driver to ever win it more than once.
Yeah, and experience is key, right, George? Like, winners breed winners. So he knows how to keep his cool. He knows how to play the long game as well. So he'll be looking at the calendar and making sure he racks up points across the whole cup instead of just going out in a blaze of glory tonight, obviously. He'll be looking to start the season strong. And Oscar King as well. Obviously, he'll have his eyes on it. He's been quick this season all around the Oceania where he's been racing. I've been having a look at a few of his races. He's been quick, he's been consistent, and he's probably my pick to take out the cup, I reckon.
Yeah, I think Jack Humphreys obviously is the one to beat. Everyone wants to beat Jack Humphreys. He is, in terms of the record books, the all-time leader in terms of wins, championships. Maybe not be pole positions or podiums, but wins are what count. In the meantime, folks, let's take a little bit of a look around the Australian circuit with Gregory Prisbell. He's given us a lap guide.
Hey guys, I'm here to take you on a track guide of Australia. Into turn 1, braking at the grey patch on the left hand side, trying not to invalidate on the apex or in the exit. Very tricky corner. Into turn 3 now, braking at the black box, flick the car in, try not to hit the red curb. Setting up the exit nicely in turn 4. Full flat through turn 5. Now into turn 6, aiming to hit the yellow and green curb on the inside, which I miss. Great talent there. Also trying not to invalidate. It's a very tricky corner as well. Now we've got a long straight just to, settle in. Try spot your braking point or lifting off point here in turn 9, which is around a 50 meter board. Should probably take more curb than I did there on turn 9 and 10, but it was clean. We move into turn 11 now, braking around that orange point on the barrier on the left. Trying to set the exit nicely, doing 11 to get to 12. Now into turn 13, I kind of bottled this corner, but it's alright. Wasn't the worst thing. So yeah, that's a lap. It's tricky lap at Australia, but yeah, that's top 50 in the world or so not bad.
So chilled was Gregory Prisball taking that lap there. Didn't really mix words. Of course, it was just, yeah, that's chill. Yeah, that's great. He was loving it. It was brilliant. Thank you, Gregory Prisball, for the lap. We do appreciate it. Of course, reigning champion here in the OFI as well. We're going to see if anyone can top him now coming through into the next event of the OFI. Of course, Jack Humphreys, keen to note that he doesn't consider himself a front runner anymore, Matthew. I know he's made certainly... he certainly has stated already that he doesn't consider himself the fastest anymore. Of course, that, you could argue that to be true, certainly based on the last two events where Ryan Cox and Gregory Prisball have now become champions in their own right and event winners. It's been a little while since Jack Humphreys has been crowned an event winner. But, you can never discount the only multi-time event winner and event champion.
Mate, discount him out at your own peril, right? I mean, he's done it more than once. He knows how to win. He might not feel fast, but you can't trade on experience, mate. He's one of those guys that you just cannot count out. Gregory's been quick. Ryan Cox has been quick. Oscar King has been quick as of late as well. But I wouldn't be betting against Jack Humphreys to at least be up there. Like you said, I mean, he's not the fastest qualifier, but you don't get paid on Saturday, you get paid on Sunday.
It's true.
And so he's just got good racing experience as well. I've also got some news as well. Ryan Bell is out for tonight. So
shocker. Big
having
player.
trouble getting to the track. Yeah, caught in customs at the airport.
My goodness. Unfortunately, will not be partaking tonight at Australia. But Ryan Bell, obviously the very first OFI event winner, of course, back in Event 1, will not be taking to the grid here tonight. Now, that's quite significant. Of course, Ryan Bell, a two-time winner in the series, Matthew. How much of a hit is that?
Oh, I think it's huge. He's got time. So he's got time for the rest of the Cup to make up the points. But you want to start strong. You don't want to be chasing down a championship. So for Ryan Bell, that's absolutely heartbreaking for him. And obviously, our hearts are broken as well because we'd love to see him on the grid competing tonight as well.
Well, we want to see the best take on the best, don't we? And that is the prime... the prime marker that we want to see. We want to see the best drivers against the best. That is the competitive element, the competitive spirit of racing in itself. But of course, yes, a big miss, obviously losing out Australia. I suppose the one unique factor about this event, of course, coming into this one, Matthew, is that it's probably the longest calendar we have had in its history.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think a longer calendar lends itself to those drivers that are a little bit more consistent, right? I mean, you can bag in a couple of race wins over a couple of laps, but also it includes a lot more training as well, if you like. It includes a lot more practice. There's more tracks to get down, which will really, I think, sift the best from the best. I think the winner of this cup, I think, has a claim.
Yeah, and obviously looking ahead to tonight, Matthew, we're going over a full qualifying format. So we're going to be having Q1, Q2 and Q3 with the bottom 5 being eliminated from each and every session, leaving eventually a top 10 shootout. Who in your mind has the best composure where it comes to qualifying from your own opinion?
I think Gregory Prisball qualifies well. He'd be difficult. I mean, he didn't qualify well last time out, but I think he'll go well. I think Oscar King will go well as well. Ox Chillo, he's a bit of a dark horse, and so I think he can qualify up there. He can definitely put it on the first or second row. Whether he's got the pace to compete with the big guys and get a first or second, we'll see. But they're my picks for tonight in the qualifying.
Yeah, obviously, folks, we want to hear from you as well as we now move into qualifying ahead of this one. Let us know who you think the pole sitter is going to be. We will, of course, read your comments as well out as we make our way through. But a proud day, it has to be said, because this is the first officially nationally sanctioned F1 sim racing event outside of F1 esports or F1 sim racing itself, folks. So talk about that for high drama. That is something special. So big thank you to Motorsport Australia for their faith and their support in pushing this series forward, and it's fantastic to see, I have to say. Obviously, we've got a very busy grid now about to make its way out onto the circuit. As you can now see from the analysis screen, Matthew Carlson has got his headset on and everything. He's ready to go. So am I. The timer already ticking now, and cars are leaving the garages here, Matthew.
Yeah, absolutely. Marcus Costa out on track early, trying to get a banker lap in. And I think just to get the nerves settled, just to get the confidence as well, you just want to get a nice, good banker lap in. Obviously, with the longer qualifying, you've got 18 minutes followed by Q2 and Q3. We'll only lose 2 drivers because we've only got 17 drivers on the grid at the moment. There should be another one joining us. He's having trouble getting in. That's Viper is not here yet, unfortunately. And I don't know if Flubber's there yet either, so he's also having trouble getting in.
Yeah, so some late dramas here for a couple of drivers. We've already lost Ryan Bell. Could we lose another one before we even really get going? Of course, the timer is now ticking. Quite a few cars making their way out onto the track. I can tell you that they're all pretty much embracing the intermediate tyre. We're not seeing any real additional soft tyres entering out onto the circuit. Everyone embracing that installation lap on the green wall tyre. So we'll see how they fare and see who can really rise to the occasion, I suppose, and take a leaf out of the EA Sports Creator Series book and take Inter's pole. Of course, we'll wait and see. Not that it really makes much of a difference in this championship. But 16 minutes or so to go. Marcus Costa, we welcome him back to the series. One time a race winner in the past. That is the sole time he has been on the podium. But he's always in the points contention, Matthew, generally.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think, if he can nail a couple of good laps, and I think if he can have a good race and stay consistent, then I think he has a good opportunity to get some points today. Good opportunities as well, like I said, for Oxchillo, and a good opportunity for these reserves as well, especially with maybe a little bit of a smaller grid. It might give them an opportunity as well to get some points.
Yeah, well, Marcus Costa now making his way through the first sector, of course, here at Australia. Little bits of runoff somewhere, but there's no runoff there, and Marcus Costa making slight impact there with the barrier on the left-hand side coming out of turn 5, and he'll hope that there's no damage on the car. At least in this case, I think he's okay. We're right on board here with Marcus now as he stretches through out of turn 8. Of course, this is the segment where DRS would usually be open, and then heading down in towards the left and right before then venturing out of turn 10 and in towards turn 11 at the end of this semi-straight. Of course, in terms of sector times here on this intermediate tyre run, we have had invalidations already for Marcus. He's one of them. And also invalidations for Joshua Lee on this coming lap. Ryan Cox, the only driver setting a valid lap so far, and has set in place a 27.9, and it's purple at the moment inside the first sector. Obviously, like I said, these are intermediate tyre runs, so nothing to be taken as gospel just yet. But now we watch as Costa makes his way up towards the line. As you can see, no time recognised, therefore will not be looking to lay one down, or at least a banker at this stage. When you now take a look at Ryan Cox, this is the man that's gone fastest in that first and middle sector. I spoke a little bit too soon, though, because Jay Cashmash has gone fastest in the first sector by a dazzling 0.4 of a second on the intermediate, or should I say on the soft tyres. So Jay Cashmash not wasting any time. He's out on softs. Here comes Ryan Cox up towards the line this time, and will lay down a 1:27.90. But all eyes on Jay Cashmash, the first soft tyre runner. But Ryan Cox putting in a lap for confidence here, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It's a good lap on Inters anyway with a 1:27.90. But it's always nice to see your name on the leaderboard and provisional pole. And I think at any point out of the 3 qualifying. So yeah, Ryan Cox with a 1:20. MJ Roller just starting his lap as well. He's on the softs as well, so he's not mucking about.
Jay Cashmash now up towards the line, should surpass Ryan Cox, but did venture into the gravel not too long ago. Sets in place a time that is just over half a second plus just ahead of Ryan Cox so far. He's going to need to do better than that, though, to feature up at the front. Of course, remember, the bottom 5 eliminated come the end of the session. We do have some green laps coming through as well, including Joshua Lee, who has put in 2 personal bests in sectors 1 and 2. Also putting in personal bests on the last run was Marcus Costa, but unfortunately he invalidated that last run. Joshua Lee also coming into the pits. So a fairly quiet start to the session. Riley McKay, we welcome him back as well to the series on an outlap right now, and a former podium sitter 3 times over, and also carries the highest number of poles in the OFI as well here, Matt. He's standing tall with 4 against his name as MJ Roller lands a 1:16.849 on the soft tyres.
Yeah, well, it's nice to see a little bit more of a respectable time now with a 1:16.849. Still probably on the slower end, as Joey Snarf also comes around on the soft tyre as well and finishes his flying lap, goes a 1:17.886. That's the reserve of Joey Snarf setting a lap for the Alpine.
Yeah, 1:17.886, and that is just over a second slower than MJ Roller so far. So the best times are still to come. We would expect, of course, still drivers occupying the intermediate tyre rubber at the moment. We've got T-Mac also out on track at the moment. He's just gone 5th fastest with a 1:21.059. Finds himself 4.2 seconds off the top at the moment. But we do have plenty of drivers on outlaps looking to start fast ones, including this one, Riley McKay, who now turns the final bend. Out of the final bend out of turn 14, and now the DRS straight, and across the start-finish line to commence his first flying lap of the session. Coming down in towards turn 1 and out of turn 2, he'll meet the speed trap as well at the end of the straight, trying to keep it within regulation as he now storms down through towards turn 3 and has done so. Did very well over the raised curbs here at this Australian circuit, ducking down now in towards turn 3 and through turn 4, again over the race curbs and then in towards the in-swinger at turn 5, and this will bring an end to the first sector before then entering into sector 2, coming through turn 6 and indeed turn 7. Hot on the throttle once again. The DRS detection point now about to arrive, and he'll then send it down in towards turns 9 and 10 as well. Just a little bit of traffic on the inside, just giving way to Riley McKay here, and it's purple in the first sector with a 26.165. Flying into the next left and the right. And just coming through in towards the final sector now. Turn 11 to come next, of course, with more DRS opening up. Will Riley McKay make the most of it now? Just touching, barely grazing that inside curb as he comes in towards turn 12 and then down in towards the final couple of corners here on this Albert Park circuit. Coming through out of turn 13, back on the power, feather in the throttle, and now jettisoning out of turn 14 with the DRS open. Riley McKay about to land his first time onto the board, and it will be fastest with a very strong 1:15.160. Matt Pleavy going second fastest, but it's 0.7 to 0.8 of a second difference between Ps1 and 2, or at least that's now been dropped. 33 thousandths as now Oscar King goes second fastest with a 1:15.1.
Yeah, an absolute really tight lap by Oscar King there. He's not messed around, got out in the softs in the Ferrari, had an amazing lap, a really strong first and second sector, and that's a great time, 1:15.193 by Oscar King. But as you said, George, Riley McKay doing what he does best and sticking it up the front with a 1:15.16.
Yeah, we have now got many of the former race winners coming up to the furore now. Riley McKay, Oscar King, Jack Humphreys, familiar faces we have seen season on season, event on event here in the OFI. And more cars now venturing out onto the track. Here is Ferrari Pro, of course, back here in the series as well once again. Still chasing his first podium and first wins as well in the series, but has been part of it now for a very long time. Of course, generally in a Ferrari, seems a bit odd to see him in a Mercedes, but now making his way into the final sector this time around. Out of turn 11 and turn 12, turn 13 and then 14, as now we see more times come through. Gregory Prisball, the reigning champion, going fourth fastest at the same time, joining the 1:15 club, as now we await Ferrari Pro to also cross the said line. And he will land his first time onto the board, and in fact goes faster than Matt Pleavy. Joins the 1:15 club alike. So those times that originally hit the heights are now being dropped, and the track improving as well, Matthew. It is now at its highest, 30 degrees.
Yeah, absolutely. As more rubber gets laid down as well as we move through the qualifying, we'll see the track evolve and some fast times coming out of Q2 and 3. As we see Oxchilla and the Haas as well, just finishing his first flying lap on the soft tyres. Really interested to see what he can do. It was a pretty tight first and second sector, but no purples. Only good enough for P6, but does join the 1:15 club as well. 1:15.705 for Oxchillo.
Yeah, decent lap from Oxchillo. At the moment stands, just over half a second away. And it's like just under 5.5 tenths at the moment between Oxchillo and Riley McKay, who has already retired from the session. We've got more outlaps now about to begin. MJ Roller, in fact, beginning his next run. Obviously, the initial 1:16.849 to beat. We've also got plenty of other drivers now in the bottom end of the rostrum that are looking to send in their first time to the session. At the moment, as it stands, we will be saying goodbye, I think, to Joshua Lee and Potato 101 in the initial. Remember, the top 15 go through to the next session, so we won't be eliminating 5 drivers in this first session. Remember, of course, we will need to go through with 15 into the next one, so it'll be interesting to see who is going to be part of that bottom 2. MJ Roller, though, bad news, invalidating in the first sector. Bad news indeed, Matty.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, bad news for MJ Roller. Also, who's invalidating as well is Ryan Cox. So he's invalidated in the second sector. So Ryan Cox, obviously with that 1:27.90, you wouldn't think quick enough to get through, but he'll want to get a lap down pretty soon, I would imagine.
Yeah, we're now watching Sebastian King as well. Marcus Costa coming through the final bends at the same time. Of course, Sebastian King, brother of Oscar King. Of course, now Ferrari engineer. Potato 101 goes into fourth fastest as well at the same time. Decent lap on his part for the Williams team. Sebastian King looking to lift himself up as well. Goes 11th fastest here in this instance. We've also got Marcus Costa now joining the club, looking to list down his first lap, and that's P3 with a 1:15.288. It's getting more and more condensed up at the very top. Ryan Cox in the pits as it stands, still sat in that 1:20. We've got ACW 132 also looking to lay down his next benchmark lap as we now await for them to cross the line. We've had others come across, including T-Mac as well in 8th fastest. We've got Ferrari Pro down in 9th. Oxchillo now all the way down in P10. Matt Plevey outside of the top 10, now out again on another outlap. ACW still not yet laying down a time after invalidating that last run in the final sector. Not ideal at all, but it's Riley McKay in control, and it's 6 minutes to go, and it looks like that 1:15 and 1:60 is going to hold station up at the top of the shop.
Yeah, absolutely. And absolute confidence from Riley as well, just showing the grid what he's here for and that he means business, and he wants to win this cup. And I think that's going to be that's everyone's motivation. They want to win the first cup that's been endorsed by Motorsport Australia. I think what's interesting for Ryan Cox here, he's in a bit of a no man's land now because he's going to have to wait, I think, until sort of the track evolves, go out and send it. With a bit of pressure on his back to get through. That could be a storyline. Ryan Cox out in Q1. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, at the moment, T-Mac is making his way around the circuit, obviously on a cool-down lap as it stands. At the moment, Riley McKay still top of the shop, but we've had several other retirements already from the session, and it is in fact 5 out of the top 6 that are all retired out of qualifying now. That includes Oscar King, Jack Humphreys, Potato 101, Gregory Prisball, the reigning champion, bringing an end to his qualifying session. A statement of confidence on their part. Marcus Costa not feeling, should we say, that he necessarily has to call it a day just yet, but I'm sure now he can, because if you think about it here, because he's got 3 drivers underneath him here, Matt, Marcus Costa doesn't need to do another lap.
No, he doesn't. And obviously, if you can save the tyres as well through qualifying, it gives you options in the race. So Marcus could just stay in there and probably just retire now as well when he's guaranteed through. But Ryan Cox on his outlap, about to start his fastest lap as well to see if he can get himself out. Joey Snarth, P16, also on the cutoff.
Yeah, now we watch Ryan Cox heading down into the final 2 corners on this outlap before he then begins his fast run. And this is the first, should we say, more of an appropriate lap we're going to see, I think, from Ryan Cox, considering that he is now embracing the soft tyre for the first time here in qualifying. Joshua Lee retiring from the session as well. Marcus Costa still remains lit up in 3rd at the moment. We've got 3 minutes and 55 to go here in Q1. Ryan Cox now coming down in towards turn 3 as the kick Sauber looks to elevate himself higher again. Remember, was a winner around this track back in event 5 here in the OFI, and looking to do the same again on the same soil where he did it before. Of course, this time, though, would like to take pole, which was, of course, taken by Ryan Bell previously, but no Ryan Bell this time due to technical issues. He will not be featuring, so it's down to the other Ryan here and now to potentially go fastest here in the session and really make a statement, and indeed already showing some really good fast sector times. So the 26.391 in Sector 1. It's a 16.9 in the middle sector at the same time as he now breaks down in towards turn 11. Back on the throttle once again. Ryan Cox looking to make a statement here in the last gasps of qualifying here in Q1. 3 minutes of magic still to come, and Cox are going to supply it all in a last-ditch effort to secure Q2 from the bottom to the near top. Not quite. 8th fastest behind teammate Joshua Lee, but joins the 1:15 club as well, and just ahead by 7 thousandths of a second ahead of T-Mac. Just barely staying in. Not the best of runs we would expect from Ryan Cox, but I'm sure there's more to come.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, George. Purple middle sector, so he really hooked it up there Did look a little bit sloppy in the third sector by his standards coming out of turn 12 and 13, but good lap. Did what he had to do through to Q2. Good to see Ryan Cox nice, safe and through.
Yeah, I certainly don't think he's going to be troubled too much. Jay Cashmash now back out on track at the same time. Now on his third set of soft tyres, so he's really using and abusing the tyre set. So it might be his third set. It might... Oh, no, it is his third set. I'm actually looking at it now. He's using tyre 7 as it stands. He's got 7% of wear on tyre 1, 9% of wear on tyre 2. Obviously hasn't used any of this particular tyre, but eating into the compounds this early. I appreciate, obviously, he's trying to get himself out of the drop zone here at the same time, Matthew, but he's also got to consider that if he gets through to Q2, he's going to be short of what possibly could be a fresh tyre going into Q2.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I totally agree. I don't think there's a lot of point in using a new tyre here because, like you said, you don't get freshies going into Q2, and that hurts his run there. Could have saved the tyres, I think, JK Mash.
Yeah, I think he definitely could have. We've got more drivers there making their way out. Sebastian King returning to the circuit. Oxchillo also on an outlap. And Matt Plevey just waiting in the pits, I think just surveying everything that's going on. But he might leave it a bit late here because we've only got a minute or so to go. So he may as well retire here and now because there's no way he's getting round to get ready for yet another fast lap. But we will stay here with Jay Cashmash. At the last ditch of asking, he's waiting for that optimal track. And now coming down towards turn 1 and turn 2. He's going to really need to hit these apexes now, Matty boy.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to have a really tight lap. Sebastian King, Joey Snarf as well. And MJ Roller, ACW retiring in the pits. So whether they think they're safe or they don't want to use another soft tyre, ballsy moves.
Yeah, obviously I think at the moment, with the time now featuring 35 seconds, he doesn't really have a choice in the matter. He sort of has to retire. There's no way he's going to get a lap in this late in the session. Oxchillo also out on track right now. No personal best here for Jay Cashmash. He's doing 27s where everyone else is doing 26 4s and 5s. So unless he does something special inside the middle and latter sectors, this looks like it's going to be an early eviction here for Jay Cashmash. And it certainly will be a mash of a qualifying here at this point. And he's going to be starting for the rear end of the grid, and that currently speaks for the two Alpines at the moment that could see them both tipped out of this very Q1 session. As now we watch as Jay Cashmash makes his way around the final two corners, turn 13 and now turn 14, and now down the straight. Let's see what happens. Rear wing open. Can he improve to go higher than Oscar King at the very least? Or Sebastian King, I should say. It's the checkered flag. No movements. Will remain exactly where he is. And his teammate also making his way around the final corner as well. Joey Snarf, who originally set a 1:17.305. He's currently on, at the moment, the same, well, on his third set of tyres as well. He's gone into 15th, so might be safe. This puts pressure on Sebastian King, who's coming around the final corners. Oxchillo looking for a late run as well, but he's invalidated his final lap. Not that that will be a problem for him, because he's got plenty of drivers behind. Sebastian King, last, but certainly not least. He comes into the pits, and that, to me, looks like elimination for young Sebastian King.
Yeah, absolutely surprising for Sebastian King there. He invalidated in turn 2. Joey Snarf, he improved 4.5 tenths in the third sector. So Joey Snarf having a monster third sector to get himself out of Q1 and into Q2. Hats off to the reserve.
I mean, that is sensational. Joey Snarf making his way into Q2 here in this OFI Melbourne race. Sebastian King, Jay Cashmash, both invalidating. Or should we say Sebastian King invalidating. Jay Cashmash obviously did list that final time, but it was not an improvement, therefore sits at the very bottom of the rostrum. Let's have a look here at the standing or the classification at the end of Q1. It's Riley McKay, fastest by 33 thousandths of a second, ahead of Marcus Costa, and then Jack Humphreys then in 4th as well. Potato 101 in 5th, and Gregory Prisball ahead of Joshua Lee in 7th, and Ryan Cox, T-Mac, F1 Ferrari Pro, and then we have Oxchillo and Matt Plevey, ACW 132, MJ Roller, Joey Snarf. We say goodbye to Sebastian King and Jay Cashmash. They will not move through to the second session of qualifying. High drama already here, Matthew. Certainly some familiar faces we perhaps expected come the end of the session with obviously the likes of Jack Humphreys, Gregory Prisball at the same time, of course, making it inside the top 10. Obviously, would anticipate him to be a little bit higher. Same could be said for Ryan Cox. But ultimately, Riley McKay running at a high level once again. Obviously a 4-time pole sitter. Fantastic in quali trim as well, Matthew. And it looks like he could be the one to beat here tonight in terms of obtaining pole.
Yeah, he looks really, really quick. I mean, obviously Oscar King was right behind him, and you know, Q3 and 2, you're just trying to get yourself out. You're probably not setting the fastest lap that you can set for the night. So I think that's going to be a really good battle. Obviously, like you said, Ryan Cox has so much left in the tank as well, just getting out. But what's the heartwarming story behind Joey Snarf into Q2? Love to see it. I mean, he was 1.6 seconds off the pace, but he got through in Q2, and now anything can happen. What a story. It
definitely can. Anything can truly happen. We have got every single driver now out on the soft tyre. Though I say that, actually, in fact, Marcus Costa's gone back out on the intermediate. So that's interesting. Obviously, again, not keen to waste any tyre sets. Now, from my reckoning, he has got plenty to play with here, has Marcus Costa. We've got a few drivers that have been a little bit more, should we say, protective of their tyre compound. Certainly those up at the front end that only did, should we say, maybe 2 laps out on track, including the intermediate tyre, which puts them in good stead ahead of the next 2 qualifying sessions. And again, I'm looking at the likes of Riley McKay, I'm looking at the likes of Marcus Costa, I'm looking at the likes of even Gregory Prisbell, Oscar King, Jack Humphreys. It's the familiar faces once again that I think are going to cause a stir once more. But one thing's for sure, we're going to be in for a thrill ride here in Q2. Now remember, we get down to crunch time here for Q2. Of course, remember, the bottom 5 will get eliminated. It's not going to be a bottom 2 situation like before, because now we've got 15 drivers, 5 eliminations this time, leaving a top 10 to fight it out for pole. Let us know in the live chat who you think is going to be eliminated in this particular session. Where do you think this is going to go, Matthew?
Yeah, I think ACW is going to find it difficult to get out this session. I think Joey Snarf, obviously, as well. Heartwarming story. You'd love to see it. Ryan Cox out early. Didn't want to do what he did last qualifying as well and put pressure on himself. Obviously, he's using extra tyre compound than the other guys as well. So he's in a bit of a pickle. He's going to have to set a fast lap, I think, for his banker. Yeah,
Jack Humphreys invalidating right from the get-go. That is a shocker for Jack Humphreys. He's not the only one, though. Ryan Cox, though that's on his outlap, so that wouldn't necessarily count unless it was late on the outlap, shall we say. But that is a major blow for Jack Humphreys and a rare mistake, you have to say, from the 3-time champ.
Absolutely uncharacteristic. You don't expect someone like Jack Humphreys in Q2 to invalidate so early, as Oscar King goes purple first sector in the Ferrari, looking quite tight as well into the second sector. But obviously Oscar, Gregory, all on fast laps, not messing around now in Q2.
Well, we now have Oscar King, purple in the first sector with a 26.148, supremely faster than Gregory Prisbell in the first sector, who only did a 26.3. So we're talking near enough 0.2 of difference in the one sector alone. It's purple again in the middle here for King now with a 16.8, again faster than Prisbell coming out of the middle sector. You'll see the Red Bull coming around later on, folks. Obviously, the Ferrari is the one we're looking at right now as he makes his way through the final 2 corners of turns 13 and 14, and now opening up the throttle once again with the DRS open, and we're going to see the first times trundling on in. Oscar King goes fastest with a 1:15.281. We now await Gregory Prisbell to do the same. Let's see whether he can muster in any imposition in the final sector to try and strike against King this time. Not quite, still off by around near enough 0.4 of a second. ACW going 3rd fastest. We also have F1 Ferrari Pro about to come across the line as well. He goes into 3rd, and then Ryan Cox setting an early lap in place, but only enough for a 1:16. Not a great lap at all from Ryan Cox here in this stint, as now MJ Roller goes into 4th fastest with a 1:15.647.
Yeah, I mean, the track will ramp up as we get through this qualifying, but yeah, I would have expected a faster time from Ryan. T-Mac goes 1:15.37, so it's good to see Thomas McInnes up there with a nice fast time as well. That will give him a bit of confidence.
That is a stunning lap from T-Mac. Welcome to the OFI, my man. T-Mac now with a 1:15.373. And just over 0.2 away from Oscar King at the top of the shop so far. We also have other movements. Jack Humphreys going on at yet another lap, deciding to now run it into the pits. Obviously invalidated that first run. It was showing green, obviously, in the first 2 sectors on this particular lap. Of course, he's just looking to really just bring the car back in. He will go again later on, but it does reduce his opportune time for laying down yet another lap. Joshua Lee, at the same time, 26.666. Inside that first sector, and definitely more on the competitive side here from this Kick-Sauber driver. His teammate Ryan Cox currently sat inside the top 6 at the moment. And we now watch as Lee heads down into the right-hander at turn 11 this time, but a little twitchy moment and got onto the curbs very nearly into the gravel trap, and he was fortunate enough not to get that invalidated, but I think the damage has already been done.
Yeah, absolutely. Marcus Costa also out in the Mercedes. Joey Snarf feeling it, invalidating as well after a struggling first sector. So Joey Snarf also having to jump back into the pits as well. Riley McCowan out lap, as well as Ox Chilo in the Haas.
Oh!
As we see Marcus into the gravel, just losing it, and the back end just kicking out on him. That is Marcus Costa.
Yeah,
into the gravel.
Another rare mistake. And obviously Jack Humphreys making an error on his first lap. Same can be said for Marcus Costa, who remains 10th fastest at the moment. So while he's been given a reprieve of staying where he is, it does put him at a disadvantage by not laying down that early banker. And it'll be interesting to see how or what will transpire going forward with the consequences of having that early moments inside the gravel. Really baffling. Already now we're seeing Riley McKay out on track. He's going again at the moment, making his way down through towards turn 3. Right on board here with the 4-time pole sitter. So he now sweeps through turn 4. And then back of the power again, turn 5 to open up as well. Very fast-paced cornering around this circuit. Riley McKay, like usual, taking to qualifying like a duck to water.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said it, George. He's a qualifying pro, mate, and yeah, he's set up for it as well. Gregory Prizable, well, I don't think he's going to qualify. I mean, he could qualify in the top 5, possibly not. I think he does tend to lean towards a better race setup. So that is one to watch as well.
Yeah, just want to say as well, Riley McKay has just gone purple in the first 2 sectors. A 25.9 in the first sector is absolutely blistering. A 16.8 in the middle. Riley McKay looking to break hearts earlier on here in Q2 once again, and looking to go fastest now in the middle session of qualifying here in Q2, straight off the back of Q1. And it looks likely it's going to be the case. Here comes McKay now, storming up towards the line with the DRS open to usurp Oscar King. The King will be dethroned here early on, and that is a sensational 1:14.6 to go near enough 0.6 of a second faster than Oscar King. He's only 2 thousandths away from 0.6. Stunning lap from Riley McKay.
Oh, you said it, George. We've dipped into the 1:14s, and we've dipped into the 1:14s in a big way. Riley McKay, Q2, setting up 1:14.6, and not only showing the rest of the grid that he's probably going to finish P1 in Q2, but it's going to be tough to beat him in Q3 as well. What a time by Riley McKay, 1:14.6.
Stunning lap from him indeed. Potato 101 looking to lay down his first time of the session. 26.2 inside that first sector. Only at the moment mere hundredths away from Jack Humphreys' first sector, who's also on a lap at the moment. But the Williams now making its way around the final corner with the DRS now open once again. Of course, we had improvements elsewhere. Oxchillo sat down in 6th. Potato 101 with a great time as well. Goes second fastest and away from our P1 sitter Riley McKay by just over half a second. Here comes Jack Humphreys. He moves into second now, very nearly breaking into the 1:14s. But hold your horses, because the King is back. He's risen, and he's purple in the middle sector with a 16.8. Already now looking to take the fight here to Riley McKay. We've had 1:14 already. Could we see a second? And could this be the faster variant as well? Here comes Oscar King. He'll go second fastest by just over 1/10 Blistering laps being exchanged by the top 3 in the classification.
Absolutely, and Gregory Principal, 1:14.887, dips in the 1:14s as well. Joshua Lee is also coming around. It's looking pretty tight from Joshua Lee. A really good first and second sector in the Kick-Sauber. Rounds the 16th corner, keeps it nice and tight, hits the battery down the main straight. Where can Joshua Lee put it? In the Kick-Sauber goes P5, nearly into the 1:14s with a 1:15.192.
Yeah, Matt Plevey also coming around the final corner as well. We've got the bottom 3 still yet to register their first times of the session. Plevey will be next, only enough for 11th fastest. Marcus Costa will come up as well, but he's invalidated his run this time again, so he's going to leave him with one literal chance to do it. Joey Snarf will be crossing the line as well. He registers a time to go 14th fastest with a 1:17.290, but it's not going to be good enough this time as we see yet more times come through. Ryan Cox going 5th fastest right at the end of play here in Q2. 5 minutes left here. Time's running out for Marcus Costa.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he hasn't even set a lap yet, so you get the added pressure as well with 5 minutes to go. And he's sort of out in no man's land as well, so he hasn't got the best evolved track by going out a little bit earlier. He's having to use fresh tyres as well. Joey Snarf also out as well. MJ Roller with a 1:15.6 is a good time, right on the cusp though, obviously, as well as Ox Chillo with a 1:15.587. Might have to go a little bit faster.
Well, at the moment, it looks like Riley McKay class of the field over quali trim. Though it's what you do in the race that counts. To quote the great Bobby George, the dart player, I've said this many, many times. It's points for show, or trebles for show, doubles for dough. And you can say the same thing about achieving pole positions and then, of course, points in races. Though poles do help on their day. But you've got to have the grit and the determination to convert it from lights to flag. As we now watch Ryan Cox make his way around the circuit and will bring his car into the pits. It's been a very busy end to this Q2 session. We've got 4 minutes to go. And we'll await to see who's going to rise to the top this time around. Though Riley McKay holding his own. Currently sits just over a tenth and a quarter higher than Oscar King right now. Remains in the session. MJ Roller now on an outlap 2. So he's going to be the first to lay down one final lap time here onto the board. And folks, we do appreciate you tuning in as well. I think we have a tremendous number of viewers. I can't actually give you a figure right off the bat. Maybe someone in the chat can alert me of that. But a big thank you to whoever you are and wherever you're tuning in from around the globe here to the OFI Cup. Proudly partnered and, of course, accredited by the Motorsport Australia. It's now a national championship, the first national championship outside of the F1 Sim Racing World Championship, that's for sure. We really appreciate your support. Please be sure, if you haven't done so already, to leave a follow to the OFI channels, whether it be on Twitch or indeed on social media via Twitter as well. But now the final run's about to come in. MJ Roller first up here, Matthew. What chance do you give him?
Yeah, I'll give him an outside chance, mate. He's going to have to drive the best lap in Australia that he's ever driven before, I think, in his qualifying to get out of here. You've got some fast drivers. Matt Plevy, I'd expect to go a little bit quicker. Of course, Marcus Costas to jump up. Ox Chillo's going to have to find a couple of tenths as well to get out, I imagine.
Yeah, well, now we're watching MJ Roller make his way down through towards the flying right-hander through turn 6 and turn 7. And then the in-swinger comes again through turns 8, where he'll then meet the DRS point, open up that rear wing, and then fly down through towards turns 9 and 10 to enter Sector 3 for the final time in quali trim, you'd fathom. Though if he does, withstand the pressure and hold on to his ERS, you never know, maybe he can go again, but we know that it drains very quickly over one singular lap. We got F1 Ferrari Pro and Potato, as well as Joshua Lee, Jack Humphreys all going out on outlap. So is ACW. Some traffic out there as well. The tail whipped out an MJ Roller's car. I can tell you though, he's registered personal bests in the first 2 sectors. So this is an improvement here from MJ Roller. You'll just hope that rear step out coming through the early stages of Sector 3 isn't going to unwind what could be a brilliant lap time for safety here in qualifying, and it's not by much. 10th fastest for MJ Roller. I don't think that's going to be quite enough for safety.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you, mate, especially with Marcus Costa in the bottom 5, Ox Chillo in the bottom 5, Matt Plevy as well. I don't know if that's going to be quick enough. But these guys all going out. Ryan Cox, Joshua Lee, do they not feel safe enough? Are they just getting a bit more practice in? But they are burning another set of soft tyres. So Ryan Cox obviously burnt an extra set in Q1, now burning in Q2 as well. Yeah,
Jack Humphreys also out and about. Obviously, you'd fathom that the early 115s are going to be enough for safety, but maybe Jack Humphreys just concerned with the encouraging growth of the 114s at the moment, which certainly doesn't necessarily encourage him. It may encourage him to go again, and I think he's just trying to hold his own at the moment. Invalidations also for ACW 132, and obviously Marcus Costa at the moment, but he's on an outlap at the moment, so he can just go again, and he just begins his final flying lap here this time. Ryan Cox out on an outlap, so is Joshua Lee. Potato just about to begin his fast run. T-Mac as well on an outlap. F1 Ferrari Pro. Oh my goodness, Jack Humphreys! Oh my goodness me, just losing it in the final sector. And it was coming down into the braking zone out of turn 11 through towards turn 12. And there's not going to be one final flying lap from Jack Humphreys here. He remains 4th at the moment. And I think he can thank his lucky stars that at least he is for now. That is why bankers are so vital.
Absolutely, George. And like you said, it's probably would have been a bit of a confidence booster for him to get into the 114s. And unfortunately, it's the exact opposite, slipping out into the gravel. Not great for his confidence going into Q3.
No, not at all. Marcus Costa, though, needs a big lap, but he hasn't invalidated this one. It's a 26.173 in the first sector, a 16.8 in the middle. This is very much near enough on par with Oscar King, maybe a little bit slower. But now making his way down in towards the final couple of corners. This could usurp Jack Humphreys here. It could join the 114 club if he carries on. Marcus Costa looking to rise from the bottom to secure safety. Heading through into the top 10 shootout. Will go fourth fastest. And ahead of Jack Humphreys, Joey Snarf is out. We now await more times to come through. Matt Plevey into the final sector this time. Checkered flag Oxchillo also out. T-Mac right on the bubble of elimination. Potato goes fourth fastest. Marcus Costa demoted down to fifth. Jack Humphreys down in sixth. Ryan Cox also making his way around the track again, has just crossed the line and gone seventh quickest. Can't improve on where he currently sits. Matt Plevey now looking to move up, as now ACW now sits 11th ahead of Oxchillo. T-Mac still on the bubble, as now Matt Plevey goes 11th fastest, and that confirms our bottom five here in this session. Ferrari Pro will not set another time. He comes into the pits. We say goodbye to Matt Plevey, ACW, Oxchillo, MJ Roller, and Joey Snarf. T-Mac holds on to move through into Q3. Once again, it's Riley McKay, fastest in qualifying. In qualifying 1, and he's done it in qualifying 2. And I'm sure a big boon of confidence. He was fastest by a 10th and a quarter. Blistering stuff.
Yeah, really fast from Riley McKay. Really fast from T-Mac as well with a 1:15.241. That's a really quick time to be on the cusp. Oxchillo and Matt Plevey really struggled in the first and second sector. Good final sector, but it wasn't enough to get them out. Really surprising to see those guys hit an early shower.
Yeah, truly remarkable. What an ending to Q2 here in the OFI Cup. It's Riley McKay, fastest again by a 10th and a quarter in the Racing Bull, and Oscar King sitting in second as well. Gregory Prisball going through into third, and Potato with yet another strong performance. Fourth fastest ahead of Marcus Costa, Jack Humphreys, Ryan Cox, Joshua Lee, Ferrari Pro, T-Mac going through to Q3. We say goodbye to Matt Plevey, ACW, Oxchillo, MJ Roller, and Joey Snarf. They will not be moving through to the next session of qualifying, and therefore are out of the session. Mind-blowing stuff, folks, but now is the important one. Of course, we're moving into Q3 now. Matthew, what were the highlights of that one? I think obviously Marcus Costa's clutch lap, he needed it, and he got it when he needed it the most.
Yeah, he left it right until the end, obviously not posting in time until his last flying lap, and I'm sure over in Q3 he's going to want to get one out nice and early just to settle the nerves. It is a mind game as much as it's a skill game. Obviously, T-Mac qualifying in P10. Fantastic for him. He'll be absolutely pumping with adrenaline right now. And hopefully Ryan Cox can find a bit of pace, get in the top 3. And Potato, obviously very surprising being that far up there as well. So, yeah, bit of a mixed bag. Great qualifying session so far. Can't wait for Q3.
Yeah, it's been a phenomenal start to the OFI Cup here in our very first round as Riley McKay crosses the yellow line on exit of the pit lane. Not often would you be allowed to do that in real life sense, but obviously likely to get away with it here in the OFI anyway. But heading down in towards turn 3 this time in the Racing Bull. Of course, we've also got IRT Ferrari Pro, Marcus Costa, 2 Mercedes in this session, 2 Kick Saubers with Ryan Cox and Joshua Lee. We've got the Aston Martin of T-Mac, Gregory Prisball in the Red Bull, Oscar King making up 1 Ferrari, and then we have Jack Humphreys in the McLaren Potato in the Williams. We want to hear from you as well, folks, so let us know in the live chat. That's what it's there for. Who your pole prediction is. Obviously, I can imagine many of you will likely pick Riley McKay, and I don't blame you, to be honest, after what we've seen in the first 2 sessions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Riley is definitely the one to beat. I think short of a mistake, it'd be very, very difficult to take pole off tonight. But like you said, mate, it's difficult for him to go qualifying, and then he's never had a win in OFI. So that is hanging over his head that I'm sure he'd love to get that monkey off his back tonight.
No question. We're now watching as the driver that went fastest in our first 2 sessions of qualifying now making his way around, chasing a 5th pole position in the OFI. And it will set him apart from everybody else. Well, he's already set apart anyway. 2 poles higher than Oscar King, Ryan Bell, and Jack Humphreys as it stands. Riley McKay getting us underway here in Q3 has got huge amounts of clean air in front of him. Of course, there's an Aston Martin up the road. That's T-Mac, who's making his way around the second sector split. But as we now watch as Riley McKay dives in towards turn 3, he's feathering that throttle again, priming the brakes where he needs it, and now throwing the car out here through the middle sector very shortly. We'll cross that sector split now before venturing in towards turns 6 and 7. And it's, well, it was purple in the first sector. It's just been ripped away by Oscar King. Again, it looks like these two are going to be dicing it out for the fastest sector times. They definitely look, while of course Riley McKay has been ultimately impressive through largely the vaster amounts of qualifying so far. Oh, into the grass! That was a big mistake there for Riley McKay, and Oscar King is also invalidated as well. So, already heart-in-mouth moments here for McKay and Oscar King here, Matthew.
Yeah, we talk about the psychology of it at the start of Q3, and maybe the nerves is playing a little bit of a factor here for both Oscar and Riley. Oscar was flying for the first 2 sectors as well, so he'll be absolutely kicking himself, but he'll also be confident that he can take this pole position tonight off Riley, I reckon.
Well, throw it over to Gregory Prisball, the reigning champion, who will go fastest with a 1:14.564 to kick us off right from the get-go. Jack Humphreys back into the early 1:15s. More time still to come through as well at the same time. F1 Ferrari Pro will be next. Marcus Costa also not far away either, just coming through the final sector. It's a 1:15.3 on parts of F1 Ferrari Pro. And Potato also going around on his outlap. But our attention diverts towards the second Mercedes. Marcus Costa, purple inside the middle sector with a 16.8 after a 26.1 in the opening sector, looking to make it 2 purple sectors if he can. Here in the third, can he usurp Gregory Prisball and go fastest? Here in the initial, here in Q3, he can't quite, but joins the 1:14 club, and already Prisball laying down that benchmark with that 1:14.564, and that sends a very clear message.
Yeah, Gregory Prisball, what has he been doing all night? He shows that he's been absolutely playing with us in sets of 1:14.5. Great lap time by him. Marcus Costa had a kick out on turn 13, and so that cost him a couple of tenths as well, but it'll be confidence for him knowing there's a bit more time in the tank.
Yeah, obviously, please get your comments in, folks. I want to hear from you. Who do you think's taking pole? We've got invalidations here for Joshua Lee as well. Ad saying Oscar for pole. We've got Maxi Boy saying Ox for the win. Who else have we got here? We got Matt Skills is on pole in my heart, says WRL Goffey. He's pole in our hearts all round, everybody. I can tell you that. As we now watch Joshua Lee make his way around the final corner. Of course, remember invalidating that first run. Potato 101 is not going to invalidate this run, at least not just yet. He's making his way through the final sector, having set a 26.188, a 16.931 in the middle sector at the same time. Here comes now Potato to cross the line and register his first lap. Potato's impressed me, I must say. A 1:14.989, joining the 1:14s as well. He's been up there with them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely been my surprise for the night as well, George. He's definitely increased his pace since last time out, and it's really good to see him up there as Ryan Cox sets a purple first sector. Both the kick Saubers out on their flying laps as well.
But he's invalidated as well in the first sector, so not only getting purple, but he made a mistake, and now he's lost it all. So, you know, we talk about just treading a little bit too far. It looks like Ryan Cox has. And we're coming down into the final 6 minutes, and it's likely only going to leave Ryan Cox with one last chance to lay down a benchmark time. Joshua Lee with a 27.0 in the first sector at the same time. Clammy Kid is saying Riley McKay for pole. Oscar says Mardami Webb. We've got Ryan Cox for pole, says Cooper the Bot. And who else have we got? Further down, let's have a look. Greg says Rhino as well. Keep the comments coming, everybody, as now we see Joshua Lee come into the pits. Obviously not happy with the lap that was set. Riley McKay already making his way around, but he's invalidated again. Another invalidation coming out in this Q3 session. Riley, who did not invalidate through Q1 or Q2, is now struggling and now has obviously left himself with only one chance to lay down a pole position time, and he's going to have to do it late.
What an absolute cracking Q3. You couldn't ask for anything better. Gregory Principal on provisional pole with a 1:14.5. Riley McKay invalidating. Not great for him. Good for the spectators. Ryan Cox has struggled the entire qualifying as we saw him invalidate a couple of times in Q1 as well. And Joshua Lee, he just kicked it out just after Ryan Cox did. And then he just threw his lap away, obviously in the pits as well.
Yeah, here comes Oscar King and lays down his first time of the session. A first valid lap of 1:14. Remember, he invalidated his first run, but he made no mistake this time and now sits inside of a 10th. Make that precisely 97 thousandths of a difference between the top two at this very late stage in the session. 3 drivers not setting times. And it's race winner last time around this circuit, Ryan Cox, who has been unable to set his first run. Riley McKay also invalidating his second run here in this Australian round to open up a new season of the OFI. This really puts the sting in the tail for Riley McKay. He needs to fight back. 4 minutes or so to go, and he's running out of time. If he doesn't do it now, it's going to be never. He could leave a potential pole position begging, and it could fall into the hands of the reigning champ, Gregory Principal, maybe Oscar King, maybe Marcus Costa, hell, maybe even Potato here at this point.
Absolutely, George. I mean, what a qualifying. Mr. Saturday himself, Riley McKay, not setting a lap and going out early as well. So he wants to get out there early. He wants to set a lap, set that pole position and get everyone else chasing a provisional pole. Hopefully, the saving grace of Ryan Cox, obviously, last time out here with OFI, he started P5 and was able to get the win. So that is a bit of saving grace for Ryan Cox. He wouldn't be too stressed.
Yeah, well, we've got plenty of comments coming in as well. Big thank you to Lord Mahaveer, George Morgan for poll. I'll do my best. I can't promise I can do much behind the commentary mic, but thank you anyway. Who else have we got? MT Broadstaff saying Marcus has a good chance, I think. Yeah, you'd be right. I think he's definitely up there. He's third fastest at the moment. Ryan or the second better king on pole, says Venti Gaming. We got Riley Cracking, says Ads. What else? Oscar for pole, says VSC Parzival. And we've got Lurchi as well, or Luxchi, saying I just see Oscar putting it on pole here at this stage. Oscar will pull it out, says VSC Parzival. We got Greg just saving it for Q3, says Rhino. Oscar King to go nuclear, says Link Shadow Bong. Riley keeps it valid, and I reckon he's on pole, says Campbell Adams. Ryan Cox into the 13, says Hugh. Keep it coming. It's Potato for pole, says Pogo Mogo as well. Venti Gaming, Seb King to pull an actual Ferrari masterclass. I mean, he could from the back of the grid. We'll soon find out. But now Riley McKay about to start his final flying lap, and it's now or never. We are now into the final 2 minutes and 20 or so. He's got to pull it out, and he's already invalidated again. Riley McKay, yet again invalidating through the very first chicane. Has the nerves got the better of him here?
Just set too much speed into turn 1, obviously lifting up into the chicane and just getting all 4 tyres off track there. The saving grace is he's got enough time, I think, to get around, reload the battery. Obviously, his tyres were a little bit worn, but he does have an opportunity for one more lap.
Well, he's going to have to save the energy and try and get ready for one more run. Those tyres are going to see a little bit more wear than most, though I must say it also gives him a great opportunity to keep them at optimal temperature, so you never know. This could work. We'll wait and see. It's going to be tough. Obviously running on a very little fuel load. We'll hope that he's got enough fuel to last the entire distance for the remainder of this session. Whether it can carry out 3 laps, hopefully he does, but we'll wait and see. Be a big shame not to see him back at the forefront, dueling it out with Gregory Principal, Oscar King and Marcus Costa, who are already out on outlaps. Jack Humphreys as well, Potato, F1 Ferrari Pro, also on a fast run at the moment and looking to put in a personal best inside the first sector, and he's looking pretty quick so far. He's found a 10th already in the first sector. So now Ferrari Pro looking to dig a little deeper, 26.0 inside Sector 1, which actually places him faster at the moment than Marcus Costa inside Sector 1. So he'll be hoping to take this home and hosed. Faster than his teammate coming out of the first split. The second split, though, could be crucial. Flying through now. This middle sector is 17.1, not purple inside the middle sector. That's still being owned by Marcus Costa right now as we watch as Ferrari Pro makes his way around the final corner. There's also, as I'm looking at it, red popping up. I think that is from Jack Humphreys' last in-lap where he invalidated on the run in towards the pit lane. But here comes Ferrari Pro. Now looking to register his final time of the session. And it couldn't come at a better time as well if he does improve. Can he? No. No improvement at all. Lost it all in the final sector. Potato, though, is improving in his final lap. First 2 sectors are green, 26.1. 16.8 as well inside the middle sector at the same time. Personal best for Riley McKay in sector 1-2. Purple first sector here for Gregory Prisball. Now we're seeing the laps come to the forefront as Potato now makes his way through towards the long straight. Can he go higher than P4? Can he? Yes, just by a little bit. Third fastest crossing the line.
Ryan Cox has invalidated, George. So big news. Ryan Cox invalidating on the same chicane as Riley McKay. He got caught on his outlap in a little bit of traffic. Didn't want to get in the dirty air, and I think it stuffed his start of his lap up. But Ryan Cox invalidated out of Q3.
And Riley McKay, only enough for 4th fastest, will not be fastest in the 3rd session of qualifying. Leaves it on a plate. Here for Gregory Prisball, currently 1st fastest, looking to improve again. Does improve again, but here comes the king, Oscar King, looking to return to the forefront. Can he usurp the 1:14.423? The king strikes, but it's a blunt one, and only enough for 2nd fastest. Gregory Prisball, the reigning champion, back on top here in the OFI with a first pole position of the new season. A stunning display from Prisball. Nothing in the first session, nothing in session 2. He left it all in a plate for Q3 and he lapped it up. The Red Bull strikes, it gives him wings. Prisball flies to pole position yet again for a second occasion here in the OFI.
Gregory Prisball acting like an absolute cucumber, chilled through Q1 and 2, optimising his runs and not wasting tyres, and pulls it out in Q3 and absolutely smashes a cracking lap. Obviously, Riley on a day where he could have gone pole and got that monkey off his back and maybe won here at Australia, only good enough for P4. Massive surprise, Ryan Cox starting from P10.
What a difference that could make in terms of the trajectory of this season. The qualifying 3 results are in, and Prisball fastest by over 2 and over 2.25 tenths as well. Very nearly 2.5 tenths quicker than Oscar King in second. But a great lap from Oscar King again, showing consistency. We've got Potato, Riley McKay, Marcus Costa, Jack Humphreys, Joshua Lee, Ferrari Pro, T-Mac and Ryan Cox. That is how they line up. Riley McKay only enough for the second row, Matthew, which is a major shock, really, when we consider where we were kind of expecting the times to certainly revolve. I'm absolutely stunned. I honestly thought Riley McKay was the one to beat, especially from what we saw in the first 2 sessions. It just seemed to slip through his fingers in that very crucial final session in Q3. It seemed that everything, the perseverance, the quality, the sheer precision that he put in place for the first 2 sessions, 0 invalidations in those first 2 sessions, it all arrived in Q3.
Absolutely, and not a guy to be shaken either. I mean, George, you said he was chilled in Q1 and 2, and Q3 he invalidated on that chicane. It just seemed like it knocked his confidence a little bit, and that added pressure going for pole on the last lap. I'll let you call the start, mate.
Well, at the moment there is a start, but I think, to be honest, we are due a lobby reset, so I'm not sure whether we're going to have one. But
that's right.
Pedal to the metal anyway. But yes, no, we are due to have a lobby reset, I believe, as you can see the cars just crashing into one another. So do not panic, folks. No start just yet. We'll be bringing you all the action very soon. Plenty of the drivers now retiring from the session as we look to get this back underway. We will, of course, be remaining in the lobby, so it shouldn't take too long in the meantime, but we can just enjoy the festivities while they occur. Back to the intermission. Obviously now looking ahead to what will be, I'm sure, a fascinating contest. Obviously we know that the front row is going to be lit up with the combination of Prisball and Oscar King. You've got 2 imposing individuals on this grid. Of course, Prisball, the reigning champion, looking to be the first driver since Jack Humphreys to go on and win it back-to-back and win it more than once. I mean, that's got to be the driving factor, right, Matthew, to be the most dominant driver on virtual Australian soil.
That's right. Jack knows what to do. He knows how to win. I think that experience counts for a lot. I'll be interested to see what Ryan Cox does and what tyres he starts on, starting over down in P10, obviously. But I think what's vital for Gregory is he needs to get a good start. He needs to be leading the pack into turn 3 and 4 and then try and break DRS. Obviously, for Oscar King, it's the opposite. If he can get ahead, he's going to have the inside run on him. Then I think that he can get out in front.
Yeah, no question. Obviously now Prisball with one pole now in his pocket. That does, of course, make it 2. It means he now levels up with Jack Humphreys as well as Oscar King and Ryan Bell. You're talking, 4 extraordinary names there now, all clubbed together. And, of course, Ryan Bell, a former OFI champion back in Event 1. Jack Humphreys winning Event 2, 3 and 4. Ryan Cox winning Event 5. But no polls against Ryan Cox's name, obviously. And Gregory Prisball, who, of course, won Event 6 now, obviously now the recipient of the first pole of the season. We'll see whether he can convert that once more into another stellar result as we look ahead to yet another extraordinary race. Just a little reminder as to how the track looks and where we are going this evening. This is Melbourne, Australia, of course, home of the Australian Grand Prix, and, of course, was opened back in 1953 on the 20th of November. Was eventually closed, though, 5 years later. And on the 30th of November, no less, 10 days after it was originally opened in 1953. But then reopened on the 7th of March 1996, taking over the tenure of the Australian Grand Prix away from Adelaide and now honing itself as the home of the Australian Grand Prix. And a track that we've only been to once before as well here, Matthew, with Ryan Bell taking pole last time, Ryan Cox taking the victory last time. Well, we've added a new pole sitter at this circuit this time, and it is Gregory Prisball looking to go from lights to flag, and will be the first driver in the OFI to go lights to flag if he can pull it off here at this particular circuit.
Yeah, and a little bit of redemption for Gregory as well. Obviously, last time out in OFI, he qualified P8. He had a great drive, finishing P3, still getting a podium, which will give him confidence. But I think it was a bit of a redemption drive for Gregory. Good to see him up there. Obviously, guys at the top 15 as well. Oxchillo's got a lot of speed. Obviously, last time out, finishing P5. He did qualify a lot better in P4, unlike today. Had a rough time of it. Also one to watch. I think he'll work through the field.
Yeah, no question. Just a little reminder as to where we are going this season before we get into racing action. We do have, of course, live action to bring you from Melbourne very shortly for round 1 here on the 2nd of October. Next up, we head to Losail, the home of the Qatar Grand Prix on the 9th of October as well. Of course, every race, remember, 7:30 local time. That is, of course, Sydney, Melbourne time as well. Montreal is the destination for round 3, the Canadian Grand Prix home, and that's on the 16th of October. 23rd of October, we go to Imola, former home of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, but will be evicted off the F1 calendar now heading into next year. We then have Silverstone, the Earl Grey of World Motorsport, there for round 5, and that will be on the 30th of October as well. Spa-Francorchamps coming up for round 6 on November 13th, and then we move through to November 20th with Austin, Texas, the next destination as we go stateside here in the OFI. Then to Mexico City, we remain on the Americas continent for round 8, and then off to Brazil for the penultimate round of the championship, and Brazil will serve up, I'm sure, a clinic, as it often does, for round 4, or should we say the 4th of December, for round 9. Round 10 then comes up afterwards for the Abu Dhabi race at Yas Marina, the grand finale for the OFI here, the Oceania Formula Invitational, as part of Motorsport Australia. And once again, we'll look to crown a champion for this long-tenured campaign as well. Just little reminders to the season's grid at the same time. Jack Humphreys lining up alongside Viper at the McLaren, Oscar King at Ferrari alongside his brother Sebastian King, and Gregory Prisball at Red Bull alongside Matt Pleavy. Then Marcus Costa at Mercedes alongside F1 Ferrari Pro. And then we have Ryan Bell in Aston Martin along with Thomas McInnes. Then we have Campbell Adams returning as well, this time at Alpine alongside Miauzi. And then Haas have Oxchillo and Websey. We then have Riley McKay at Racing Bulls alongside MJ Roller, and Potato at Williams alongside Yusuf Syed at the Grove team. And then Ryan Cox and Joshua Lee sharing a Sauber together as well. In terms of tonight's grid, this is how we look going into the first race of the championship. Jack Humphreys alongside Viper in the McLaren. We then have Oscar King and Sebastian King in the Ferrari. Gregory Prisball, Matt Plevey in the Red Bull. Marcus Costa, F1 Ferrari Pro in the Mercedes. Ryan Bell, Thomas McInnes in the Aston Martin. Jay Cashmash reserving in place at Alpine, and same can be said for Joey Snarf. Oxchillo in the Haas alongside ACW 132s, also reserving for this campaign. Riley McKay in at Racing Bulls alongside MJ Roller. Potato 101, who's impressed us in qualifying in the Williams, and Flubber stepping in as a reserve as well. Ryan Cox, who is in the Sauber for today's session, looking to line up alongside Joshua Lee as presented for the season in the Sauber as well. Obviously, remember, no Ryan Bell for tonight's race as he was unable to get himself into the session. Was having some technical issues coming into the event. But in terms of how things are looking onwards, obviously we've got plenty of thrills and spills to come. Obviously it won't just be me as well in the commentary box. We do have Nathan Richards coming in to join the series as well for some sequential rounds. Obviously Matthew, you're doing a stint as well here in the championship as well. And we've got so many young commentators coming in and jumping in on the OFI Invitational as well, so you get to meet and greet every single one of them, coming from different leagues from around the Oceanic region, which is great to see, and obviously just looking to bloom and blossom new talent from the Southern Hemisphere, which we look forward to seeing. But obviously looking ahead to this one, Matthew, standouts, do tell me, what are your thoughts after qualifying? Did it go the way you expected, or were there a few moments? What was your biggest W? What was your biggest L?
Gregory Prisball, I think the biggest win, obviously P1. I think he saved his pace for Q3. I think he had a great run. Obviously the biggest surprise is Riley, but I think a bigger surprise is Ryan Cox. I think usually you can pull it together and put it in the top 5 or top 6 down in P10, but we know you don't get paid on Saturday, you get paid on Sunday, and we know that Ryan can have a good race. Oxchillo, obviously a really big surprise being down the bottom as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. I think obviously Oxchillo doing a grand effort trying to pull things off as well at the same time. Big shout out also to Lindsay Muddle. For those of you who don't know, by the way, Lindsay also commentating on Australian F4 recently as well. So big shout out to him, getting his first proper taste of, should we say, official feeder series single-seater racing, which is fantastic. Obviously, I can speak from experience for that as well. It's a great feeling. Obviously, me doing Formula Regional and Euro Formula as well as GT Open and GT Cup, it is a phenomenal experience. So well done to Lindsay Muddle on that as well. We're just about to go racing now for the first round of this season. It's going to be a special ride. The timer is ticking down. Our first race as we look ahead, it's going to be phenomenal. Obviously now we've got so many top contenders. Front row, as you all know, it's Gregory Prisball and Oscar King. Late predictions from you guys in the live chat, and I'm going to throw a late prediction over to you as well, Matthew. What are your thoughts?
I think Ryan Cox will go through the grid. I think I'm going to put him on for a cheeky podium, but I'm going to put Oscar King for the win here. A bit of an upset to go against Gregory, but I think Oscar King has what it takes to take out the win here in Australia.
Well, we look forward to seeing who it's going to be. Let us know in the live chat, folks. That is what it's there for. Let us know who you think is going to win the opening round of the OFI, brought to you and powered by, of course, Australian Motorsport Australia, who have kindly offered their support to the OFI, the first recognised national league on the F1 game, aside from F1 sim racing itself. A big moment here for the Oceanic region, and the first throughout the entire globe to do so as well. Quite the statement. So well done to all of you involved in the OFI as we look ahead to our first round of this season. Plenty to bring you. 10 rounds in total. Every chapter will tell a story. The question is, what will the first chapter look like come the end of play when the checkered flag waves? Is it going to be a Leinster flag for Gregory Prisball, the reigning champion? Will he continue his trajectory at the top of the shop as now the lights get lit here at Melbourne? As here at Albert Park, we get underway. And it's pedal to the metal. And it's go! Go, 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 go. Great start for Gregory Prisball. Oscar King also getting a good start too. Potato 101 now vying side by side with Riley McKay as they come through turn 1. Prisball getting a lovely run coming out of turn 2. And has a gap of near enough 8 to 9 tenths of a second in front as now they all start to clump together and battle. They're 3 wide coming down in towards turn 3. Jack Humphreys trying to launch his way through. We've had some spinners further back. Oh, Ferrari Pro has gone down. Jack Humphreys in the 4th. Potato now down to 5th. Marcus Costa down to 6th, but still challenging Potato as they come through turn 6 and 7.
Yeah, T-Mac down 4 positions. As you said, had a little bit of an issue through turn 3 and 4. Sebastian King had a good start off the line, gained 2 positions, went wheel to wheel, but also had an issue as well on that second chicane, down in 15.
Yeah, coming now into the left and right of turns 9 and 10. And it's Gregory Prisball now with still, by and large, a near enough 0.8 of a second gap. It is coming down to Oscar King doing well enough to rein it back in. Of course, we have got some close gaps in between others. Joshua Lee on the tail of Marcus Costa as they now come through towards the latter stages of this opening lap, coming in towards turns 13 and 14. And then down the long straight before they begin lap 2 of 29. Prisball about to cross the line now, and we'll register the first lap of the race session. Important to note that we do have differing tyre strategies, and I would say majority mediums by the looks of it, but we do have a sprinkling of hards, 4 runners to be precise, and Matt Pleavy with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I can confirm he's had 4 warnings already and has been given a 3-second time penalty as a result.
Yeah, super early penalty by Matt Pleavy here. I do expect a few penalties tonight as Sebastian King makes a move on T-Mac up into P14 is the Ferrari, and Ferrari Pro in the Mercedes having another issue in Sector 2 finds himself 2.3 seconds behind the pack.
Yeah, here comes Marcus Costa as well for a little move here, this time on Potato. Swiftly moves past, didn't even need the apexes of turns 9 and 10 to make that one work. So Costa, it doesn't cost a lot for overtakes like that. 5th place for this man, and it's a 3-second time penalty for Joshua Lee. So our second penalty already in the first 2 laps.
Yeah, Sebastian King getting past Joey Snarf up into P13, but now finds himself 2.3 seconds behind the pack. He has to try and get into DRS as he goes wide there, and the Aston Martin T-Mac goes through up to P13. The Alpine also on the inside and causing a little bit of trouble for Sebastian King. So a little bit inconsistency costing him down the back.
Yeah, I must say the race trim currently working well here for Marcus Costa. He's just set the fastest lap of the race. The pace certainly looks in his pocket. Joshua Lee with another 3-second time penalty. But he's not alone because also Matt Pleavy has already picked up another 3 seconds at the same time. Joey Snarf currently fighting it out at the moment with Sebastian King. Sebastian King's had a problem, I think, again, and he's losing time hand over fist. No straight line speed near enough. They're almost 3 wide coming through the next left-hander. Quite a busy battle happening between the 2 Alpines and the Ferrari. Sebastian King now cementing himself in between Joey Snarf and Jay Cashmash in 14th.
Yeah, and all this is hurting that trailing pack. Now T-Mac finding himself 3.3 seconds behind as well as ACW makes a move and up into P9 as ACW 132. Potato losing a couple of positions, but he's on the hard tyres, so he won't mind that too much as long as he can stay in contention and in this DRS train.
Yeah, we're right on board here now with Oscar King, all but briefly as he now makes his way through the final sector. Ferrari Pro now with a 3-second time penalty. They're picking him up like sweets at the moment as they come through the final corner. But Prisball about to begin lap 4 of 29. And he's got Oscar King for company at the moment as they jettison down through towards turn 1. Currently all within DRS up until, well, now ACW has broken it because he's now a second back, or he's trying to flitter himself back into within a second of Ryan Cox at this stage. But it goes all the way down this train to P12, where MJ Roller currently sits 4 seconds clear of T-Mac right now, as Oscar King starts to tread on the back of Gregory Prisball's Red Bull, and as they come down through towards turns 6 and turn 7, before then heading down in towards turns 8 as well. Half a second between the 2 of them, and Riley McKay in 3rd, just watching it all unfold. Now sat in 3rd place with Jack Humphreys for company. Of course, the top 4 you will recognise from previous outings, race winners of the past. We have got 2 champions in amongst this top 4 as well. Jack Humphreys, 3 times a champion. Gregory Prisball now a 1-time and reigning champion. ACW picking up a 3-second time penalty, and that's yet another one that's been dished out. Our 4th driver to receive one, and Ryan Cox moving past his teammate Joshua Lee and into 7th place.
Yeah, Ryan Cox just doing an absolutely fantastic job on those hard tyres. Now up 3 positions on what you would think would be the slower tyre at the start of this race. He is going to be super speedy at the end of the race. Ryan Cox up 3 positions up into P7.
Yeah, Potato, the current highest hard tyre runner, just needs to remain ideally within DRS of Marcus Costa to make this work. Another 3 seconds going Joshua Lee's way. That's 9 seconds he's now attributed, and he's had 10 warnings. Can you believe that, Matthew?
Yeah, that's a lot of warnings for someone of his caliber. I'm not sure if it's the pressure or the stress, but for someone from that caliber, that is quite surprising. As we see the front 3 as well, now get away to the tune of 1.5 seconds. Marcus Costa dropping out of DRS.
Yeah, obviously Jack Humphreys was also, bear in mind, he was in P4, so Marcus Costa, I think, has actually swiped the position now as Oscar King goes for the lead of the race and will snatch it away from Gregory Prisball coming in towards turns 9 and 10. The Ferrari now reigns at the head of the order for the first time in this race. Prisball, who was holding his own for a grand period of time, and it's Oscar King, the 3 times winner here in the OFI, who now sits in the premium spot here and now, and he's looking to try and break the toe, and I'm sure there's a lot of consideration, a lot of thought as to what those on the hard tyres are going to do. I must say, Potato doing masterfully well on those hards at the moment, still remaining within DRS on Jack Humphreys, and those hard tyres are only going to get better as the mediums get weaker.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to come into their own in the next few laps. I reckon lap 10 or 11 maybe is the transition where the harder tyre will be the stronger tyre. So like you said, George Potato and Ryan Cox doing a fantastic job. Oscar King on a burner at the moment. The last 3 laps has been faster than Gregory Prisball, and Gregory has to be careful here that he stays inside DRS.
Yeah, yet another warning going the way of Joshua Lee at the moment. It's now become 11 as it stands. We've had a few others flitter out as well. 6 warnings going to Ferrari Pro. As we now watch as Potato makes his way through towards this next segment, chasing down Jack Humphreys. And now through turn 8. They now head down in towards the fast left and right. T-Mac now receiving a 3-second time penalty as now Potato hovers all over the back of Jack Humphreys. The pace in this man is tremendous. They flash the rear energy lights. DRS open now for Jack Humphreys, now hovering all over the tail of Marcus Costa, happy to remain behind the Mercedes for now. But I think just trying to use Marcus Costa as a defensive shield almost to keep Potato in behind.
Yeah, Potato's got some insane pace on those hard tyres and doing a really, really good job. Who else is doing a really good job is MJ Roller. Also on those hard tyres, finds himself in P12 and putting all sorts of pressure over the back box chiller.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you can't get past, there's been a lot of discussion about the lack of, or certainly the behaviour of the dirty air lately, not allowing overtakes that are necessarily easy. Oh, T-Mac with a 10-second time penalty, and that's a retirement for speeding in the pit lane as well. I think, obviously, the retirement coming in off the back of the penalty. I think, obviously, a frustrating race, and that is one of our hard tyre runners. Well, now, our medium tyre runners moving on to the hards, calling it a day. T-Mac, our first casualty here at Australia.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to T-Mac. I'm not sure if he just retired because of the 10-second penalty, but he had a bit of a hard time, bit of a hard start as well, lost a couple of positions. Obviously, he had that snap out of turn 2, but not sure what the issue is down there with T-Mac. Yeah,
well, Gregory Prisball in the process has now retaken the lead, so he's now in front of Oscar King as it stands, and that's 4.5 tenths the difference between them. Potato with a 3-second time penalty. Now that could be devastating in terms of his strategy. And now it might incentivise Ryan Cox to get past so he can just focus on his race because he also shares the same tyre.
Yeah, absolutely. And as the laps tick by, Marcus Costa in P4 holding up that second DRS train now finds himself 2.5 seconds behind. So Ryan Cox will be conscious of this being on the hard tyre. He'll want to try and get up there to maximise the end of his race.
Yeah, well, we're running aboard now with Ryan Cox coming down into the first and second apex in this lap 8 of 29. 21 laps now to take us to the checkered flag. Still a long way to go. We have yet to see the strategies unfold just yet, but it'll be intriguing to see when they do. At the moment, Ryan Cox sat behind Potato as F1 Ferrari Pro receives another 3-second time penalty. Oscar King now sat behind Gregory Prisball once again. Prisball, who started on pole position, now retaking the lead back away from the Ferrari, and of course new Ferrari F1 sim racing engineer Oscar King will be looking after the affairs of Barry Burremand, and also Ishmael Fassi moving through to another F1 sim racing world championship campaign. So a proud moment for Oscar King, who's now this time at the very least here in the OFI, taking to the wheel here and now, as now Ryan Cox gets very close to the back of Potato 101. Surely has to consider making the move, because he needs to make the most of these hard tyres whilst they are the optimal compound.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And MJ Roller, like I said, doing a good job down in P12. Sebastian King, Joey Snarf, obviously struggling now, finds themselves 7 seconds behind the pack. Joey Snarf does.
Yeah, well, Joshua Lee in danger of being disqualified here at this moment, because he's now got 12 seconds of penalties at the moment. So it goes from bad to worse for the Kick Sauber. He'll have to be very cautious, otherwise he might not even finish this race, as we now watch as Ryan Cox gets close to the back of Potato. That's another 3 seconds going his way. 15 seconds of penalties for Joshua Lee. 16 warnings in total as they head down in towards turn 3 and then later turn 4. But Ryan Cox now on the tail of Potato 101, and it's now just over 3.5 tenths between them going out to 4, but Ryan Cox still very much there. Oscar King getting a little bit closer as well to the back of Gregory Prisball as they now come around turn 8 this time around. And Ryan Cox, I think, now fed up of watching and waiting, is now going to exercise his right on hard tyres to make the move this time on Potato, and now move into 6th place. So Ryan Cox now finally pulling the plug, as Jay Cashmash now receives a 3-second time penalty, also for multiple warnings, and that's his first of the race.
Yeah, I think you made a good point about Joshua Lee. He's just need to calm down a little bit. I'm not sure if it's a setup issue or what's going on with Joshua Lee, but he wants to try and salvage some sort of points out of this race to keep himself involved in the Cup. As he goes wide once more, Ferrari Pro picks up another 3-second time penalty as well, and Ryan Cox is right on the back of Jack Humphries.
Yeah, I think he's now pulling the plug here. He's on what we would believe to be the faster tyre here at this point. Of course, the hard tyres only get better with age. They're a grand race tyre. Many drivers do love to adopt them. The pros all talk about it. Ryan Cox with not even a warning against his name. No penalties, no warnings, no nothing. Same can be said for Gregory Prisball and Oscar King right now. Riley McKay with 2 warnings against his name. 2 warnings going to Jack Humphries as well. Marcus Costa with 1, and currently Marcus Costa sat inside P4 here and now with the fastest lap of the race with a 1:18.001. As they now come through the right-hander of turn 8, Ryan Cox now looking to open up the throttle once again. Sebastian King with a 3-second time penalty. That's his first of the race as well, with 4 warnings against his name. Ryan Cox now flying down in towards turns 9 and 10. All over the back of Jack Humphries, who surely has to go defensive. The 3-time champ is going to come under pressure from the champion from Event 5, who now has another look down the inside, can't quite find a way through. But Ryan Cox just there on the rear diffuser and primed to pick his spot. Cox looks like the main threat here.
Yeah, he's looking very, very quick on those hard tyres. Obviously, Jack Humphries, a seasoned pro, 3-time winner. He's been here before. He knows what he needs to do to defend and also not hurt his race strategy either. Riley McKay in P3, trying to get that Mr. Saturday monkey off his back. Obviously had a tough qualifying, but he would love to pick up his first win for OFI here in Australia.
Yeah, no question. Into the pits comes as well Joshua Lee. I wonder if that's going to be a retirement or indeed a pit stop. No, he's just changing rubber and he moves on to the hard tyres. So that's our first regulation medium pit stop. So now we're going to see probably a thoroughfare of more cars coming through, that they don't necessarily need to respond to Joshua Lee's stop, because remember, he does have those penalties, though for track position they might well consider it. We've got Riley McKay still continuing behind Gregory Prisball and Oscar King right now. They've got a gap though of near 4 seconds. That hasn't really moved much. The 4-second gap has been somewhat maintained between Marcus Costa and Riley McKay, but Jack Humphries right on the tail of Costa here. Cox now the threat, because he would largely be expected to be quicker on the better hard tyre here at this point, as they come down in towards the heavy braking zone once more. As they come through, no changes inside that top 6 just yet, as they now look to bring an end to lap 11 of 29. Oscar King within half a second of race leader Gregory Prisball, who is chasing his 4th win to level the number of wins in the OFI from the overall, from every single event that we have run. As Ryan Cox now goes for the move this time, or does he? No. Marcus Costa into the pits, and so's Jack Humphries and Oxchillo.
Yeah, trying the undercut is Marcus. I think they're trying a bit of the undercut here. Marcus Costa also going into the pits. Gregory, Oscar and Riley all choosing to stay out so they will have fresher tyres towards the end of the race. It'll be interesting to see how the power of the undercut here.
Yeah, and obviously, if you're Ryan Cox, it's in your interest to push as much as you can now, because you need to try and make use of the essentially a tyre that is now up to temperature. Of course, this track now at 29 degrees, 1 degree off really from the optimal 30 that we generally expect to see the circuit at. But the air temperature also could be ramping up. Obviously, no rain expected here at Melbourne either. Sunshine right through as we now watch as Ryan Cox makes his way around. Currently only amassing 38% wear on his hard tyres. He's got plenty of life left and will surely look to push onwards here and close the gap on the back of Riley McKay. We'll have to have a look at the laps and how they compare. Obviously, this is the first time that Ryan Cox has really had an opportunity to have clean air here at this point, so we can focus on pushing. I will say this though, Joshua Lee, since moving on to the fresh hard tyre, he's just gone purple inside that middle sector, so the fresh rubber now really starting to respond as we now see our race leaders come into the pits here, Matthew.
Yeah, they're just coming to the pit as Marcus Costa comes around the final corner. I think they'll be all right. Marcus Costa did find himself 4 seconds behind before the undercut, so we had to try something, but I think he did cover him off. But he has closed the gap by a huge margin on Gregory Principal as well. So that undercut for Marcus Costa puts him on the back of that DRS train now to the tune of 3 seconds. What an undercut by Marcus Costa. Yeah,
brilliant undercut indeed from Costa, and now brought himself back into the mixer for this final segment of this race, and this hard tyre can go this distance, folks. Obviously, it's made all the difference in the world, and I think Gregory Principal, Oscar King, Riley McKay knew that. That's why they wanted to come in and instantly respond to Marcus Costa's decision, because obviously for Costa, it was all about track position. He was so close to attaining it as well. It could have been so easily net race lead for Marcus Costa had they gone one additional lap. So this has worked out beautifully for him though anyway. He's still within DRS, though he can't afford to lose it. Needs to try and stay within a second and stay on the tail of Riley McKay to give himself a chance in this race.
Absolutely, and Jack Humphries needs to try and get past Joshua Lee as fast as he can and try and get himself back up into this leading pack. Obviously, Ryan Cox now with a bit of breathing space, but he does have a bit of pressure from Potato 101 behind him, but it does look like they are working together, which is in the best interest of their race. They're going to have to really put their foot down if they've got an opportunity here later in the race.
Yeah, no question. Matt Plevey in the pits now too, as the net race leaders now brush past. Of course, Gregory Principal, highest of those that have boxed, and was, of course, our leader after starting on pole position. Ryan Cox still continuing around on track. He'll be looking to finish fast on the medium tyre later on, so sit tight. Potato will be doing the same, MJ Roller as well. Potato having a great race again, but remember, he does have a penalty, so does Ryan Cox. So I would argue that mitigates the hard strategy now at this point. Starting on the hard strategy is Ferrari Pro. Now receives a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane and sequentially retires from the race. Our second retirement here at Melbourne.
Yeah, I think you're right about the hard strategy there, George. I mean, Ryan Cox had to do something. He threw the dice. I'm not sure about Potato, but Ryan Cox threw the dice, started on that hard tyre strategy, but it's not working out for them, especially with those time warnings. And Gregory Principal has wiped a second off their time just in this lap alone. So I think they'll come out net P11, P12 at the moment.
Yeah, and obviously Riley McKay, purple in the middle sector at the same time. Personal best from Oscar King as well. So the pace is in the pockets of the net leaders at the moment. And Principal now on the tail of MJ Roller is going to look to try and get an in-regulation overtake done. Of course, MJ Roller still not yet pitting, and Principal now will move into third place. MJ Roller dropping down to fourth and will be fodder for the likes of Oscar King. King can't afford to dally, needs to get past in order to remain on the tail of Principal here, and does get past, smoothly does it, and no fight being put up by MJ Roller here on lap 15.
Yeah, Riley McKay as well also needs to get past as well as Marcus Costa, who has the fastest lap in this race and by a fair margin as well.
Yeah, this is poor news for Riley McKay because trying to get by was held up coming through turn 5, and it's left him now 1.1 seconds back. He's outside of DRS. That could be crucial here, Matthew.
Absolutely. This is a chance for Gregory Principal and Oscar King to really put some daylight between themselves and Riley McKay. I mean, he didn't qualify the best. Riley McKay is chasing his first OFI win in history, and he really needs to get back into DRS, and he's just done it now.
He's just about done it. He's flirting with that 1 second gap. It's juttering in and out as we speak, but credit to Riley McKay. He's doing his damnedest to try and pull himself back through. Joshua Lee also moving past MJ Roller. Jack Humphreys now also looking to move inside the higher echelons of the top 10, but of course remember he also has a penalty. Ryan Cox still out on track with Potato leading this race at the moment, with Prisball now sat in P3 on track. But our net leader of this Australian race here in the OFI Cup, brought to you by Motorsport Australia, as we now watch them head down in towards the first corner apexes, now coming down in towards turn 3. Prisball, net race leader with Oscar King for company. Riley McKay bringing the time back in, now back within DRS. And so is Marcus Costa. A four-way fight continues for supremacy in the opening round of this new season. What are your thoughts, though, Matthew, on what we've seen already?
Yeah, I think it's been a pretty good race. Gregory out in front. He'd want to go from qualifying and do the Grand Slam here in Albert Park and put his mark on this OFI Cup, but he's going to have to do it the hard way, as Oscar King doesn't look like he's going to go away anytime soon. He is managing, and with all this racing, I think Riley McKay is really set up here for a race win later in this race.
Yeah, well, at the moment, Prisball in control. We currently have only 5 drivers that haven't received penalties so far. Ryan Cox finally coming into the pits, so now Prisball will take up the race lead. Oscar King will move into second. Riley McKay into third as well. Takes the fastest lap of the race for his troubles as well. But Riley McKay's got to be careful here, because he's got 3 warnings here at the moment. He is literally 1 step away from a penalty, which will bring an end essentially by and large to his Australian race here to open up the OFI Cup. Can't afford to put a finger wrong here, Matthew, but he's still lapping very quickly, having just taken the fastest lap in this Albert Park encounter.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for Riley, because he's got to do now 12 qualifying laps, I think, just to stay in contention, as Gregory Prisball puts his foot down to the tune of 8/10, trying to break that DRS zone critically, but Oscar King not going away. Obviously that DRS bringing him back into the fold. Is he going to make a move here? He's right on the back of him. Chooses not to yet and stays in P2. Marcus Costa obviously now dropping back to the tune of 2 seconds. They have really dropped the rest of the pack now, the top 3.
Well, we can't cast our eyes away from the top 4 now. We're coming into the final 12 laps of racing. And it's Gregory Prisball who leads the way, but Oscar King still very much there. Remember, these two fought it out for the race lead as early as the opening stint, where they exchanged P1 prior to the first pit stops coming into play. But now they're going to have to duke it out for what will be, eventually, when the checkered flag comes out, the race win here in the very first round of this brand new OFI season. And it's Gregory Prisball who leads the way at this moment. 11 laps, 12 if you include this one, as they head down through turn 3 and then later turn 4. The Red Bull still leads the way. We've got the Ferrari in second, the RB of Riley McKay in third as well. With 2 warnings, Marcus Costa remains in fourth, but now Costa starting to tail off from the front 3. He's 1.6 behind Riley McKay now, so it firmly becomes, in my view, a 3-horse race.
Yep, a 3-horse race, and like you said, if Riley McKay picks up another warning, it could turn into a 2-horse race. Oscar King is really positioned nicely. He is gaining on Gregory Prisball in that DRS and getting closer and closer each lap. He could have an opportunity here to make a move, possibly in that Ferrari, but he does choose to stay in behind. Ryan Cox lapping very quick, but does find himself 13 seconds from the lead with a lot to do on those medium tyres.
Yeah, I think this is Oscar King definitely trying to push Gregory Prisball to use the battery. Obviously, Prisball at the moment needs to be cautious about how much he uses, because that could become the difference maker coming into the closing stage. You can just see the distance. Marcus Costa trying to fight his way back to within DRS of the top 3, but if anything, he's drifting. And if you want to hear comparison in terms of lap times, everybody, the last lap for Marcus Costa was a 1:19.441. That was the slowest out of the top 4 as it stands. The other slowest driver out of the top 4 is Gregory Prisball. It was a 1:19.419. He was faster by around 300ths of a second, just under 300ths of a second than Marcus Costa. Oscar King lapping the second fastest out of the top 4. The fastest driver in this instance is actually Riley McKay still, and he's trying to do so whilst being on 3 warnings and trying to avoid that final penalty, which will put a stopper in his efforts in becoming a race winner and indeed a podium sitter, because if he gets a 3-second time penalty, it'll throw it right into the hands of Marcus Costa as we now watch them make their way out of turns 9 and 10 again. Oscar King all over the tail of Prisball, got very close again on the run through that chicane, but not close enough to make a move on the second half of that run as they come down in towards the final few corners. And it's Prisball, King, McKay, your top 3 here on lap 19 of 29. Just over 10 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I think Riley McKay has got the speed. He's obviously got the fastest lap of the race with the 1:17.4, so he knows he can do it. He does find himself sort of 9-7 tenths behind the front two, but I do get this feeling that Oscar King, like you said, is just trying to push Gregory to use his battery, forcing him to defend, maybe pushing a little bit of life out of those hard tyres. And so my pick is for Oscar King here to bring it home.
Yeah, just to obviously allude to those of you certainly lining up in the chat, confused as to why it says that why I'm saying 3 warnings for Riley McKay. It is genuinely 3. I'm looking at it on my timing screen right now. 3 warnings, 0 penalties have been issued. 1 warning for Gregory Prisball at the moment, 1 warning for Oscar King, 2 warnings at the moment for Marcus Costa. None of those inside the top 4 receiving penalties. Joey Snarf could incidentally inherit a place or 2 here, because Sebastian King in front of him has got 6 seconds of penalties. Joey Snarf only 3 seconds away at the moment, as now Jack Humphreys goes for the move on Joshua Lee and into 5th place. And obviously, just due to the fact that Joshua Lee has got 15 seconds of time penalties, it could see him sinking lower and lower and lower. So Jack Humphreys on for some decent points here at this very late stage of the race. 9 laps or so to go, and it's Gregory Prisball, Oscar King, Riley McKay, your top 3 as they now begin lap 21.
Ox Chillo in Sector 2 also had a kick out. He had a bit of a traction issue and lost positions to both Ryan Cox and Potato. So Ox Chillo moving from P8 down to P10 now and finds himself behind Potato and Mr. Cox.
Well, now in towards turn 3, Prisball half a second ahead of King. This is the status quo that has existed now for quite some time. The question is, who's going to blink first? And you'd fathom that surely it's going to happen late in the day. Obviously, the closest gap outside of this bunch is the battle over P7 at the moment with ACW. It's got Ryan Cox for company as well as Potato. And Ox Chillo also behind them as well at the same time. Matt Plevey 5.4 seconds behind those 2 as well. As we now watch as Riley McKay looks to get closer and closer to the back of Oscar King. Certainly not in a position to challenge just yet. Driving the car based in Faenza, trying to tackle a car that hails from the same nation. Of course, Ferrari from Maranello, and the car from Milton Keynes currently leads the way with Gregory Prisball behind the wheel. Of course, going back to last season's OFI event where Prisball would become champion, he took 3 wins, 6 podiums, as well as a pole position en route to becoming champion. And that pole position coming at Bahrain. Of course, we did not race at Australia last campaign. Oscar King also taking 3 wins as well, but despite being equal in numbers of successes, the difference was the other podium finishes, which Prisball did not feature outside of the podium once over our last campaign, and he's going to look to do the same thing again. The consistency certainly makes a real difference.
Yeah, Gregory Prisball, real class, George. Like you said, last OFI event, absolute dominance by Gregory Prisball. Oscar King will want to come back this time. He'll want to put his mark on this competition, and this is where he can do it. Here at Albert Park, round 1. Can he get Gregory Prisball? Can he chase him down? Can he keep him cool? These questions will be answered toward the end of the race. MJ Roller did a really good job as well, down in P12. Bit of a shout out. J Cash Mash as well, up 4 positions, currently running in P13 for the Alpine.
Yeah, lap 22 of 29. This is where things are considered. Obviously, at the moment, Riley McKay, I think by and large, may be considering just holding position for now and just conserving that battery right up for one last-ditch assault in the final few laps. Regardless, I think we're going to be in for a furious finish to this Melbourne race. Obviously, Riley McKay is going to be the first driver, I'd imagine, to make a decisive motion in terms of pulling the plug on this status quo of 1 and 2 between Gregory Prisball and Oscar King, because of course he needs to gain 2 places if he wants to win here. Still no further warnings going Riley McKay's way. It remains on 3 at the moment. No penalties at all for the top 4 in this race. Marcus Costa sat in 4th spot, but 4 seconds away from McKay at the moment as they head through now out of turn 4 and then turn 5 and then later turns 6 and then turn 7 as well. It's Prisball, Oscar King, Riley McKay, Marcus Costa, your top 4. Jack Humphreys in 5th will be on for some decent points at the very least. Admitted himself that he may not be the Jack Humphreys of old, but still, again, in the points is what matters. And he's in amongst a group of cars that have all faced penalty reprimands here as Joshua Lee looks to get past Jack Humphreys and has done so for P5. Not that it matters, because Joshua Lee with 18 seconds of penalties and 19 warnings against his name.
Yeah, and a great race by Marcus Costa as well. He tried the undercut earlier. He brought himself back into the fold, into that DRS train, but the pace of McKay, King, and Prisball just proving too much for Costa. But he is sort of in no man's land in P4, which it is a little bit hard to concentrate sometimes when you're racing by yourself out there. But a good race by Marcus Costa and some good points in round 1 of the OFI Cup if he can maintain this position.
Of course, if it stays like this, Gregory Prisball will take his 4th win. Obviously, he still needs to try and keep Oscar King behind, though. And King on for a 7th podium and will, well, numerically for now, draw level with Prisball. But, of course, Prisball will land another podium to make it 8 as well and still will reign supreme at the top with the highest podiums recorded in the OFI at the same time. Riley McKay, obviously, looking to rumble up his 4th podium to level up with Al Karudin. And will still remain as the highest pole scorer so far, as we now watch Oscar King get very close to the back of Gregory Prisball's rear diffuser once more. Still no plans to make the move, though, on the Red Bull as they come down into
it doesn't look like it.
As they come down into the final couple of corners. Lap 24 of 29 and just over 5 to 6 laps still to go if you include this one, as we now come into touching distance of the checkered flag here, Matthew.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said earlier, George, I mean, Gregory Prisball is burning his battery. He did save a little bit that lap, but he's having to burn down the DRS zones to keep Oscar King behind, now down to 56%, with Oscar King having 73% battery. That will play a part come later in this race, I would believe.
Well, we're running on board with King now, heading down in towards turn 3, again, hitting the heavy braking zone. Now back, fender in the throttle through turn 4, and then later turn 5. And Riley McKay just waiting to pick his spot, I'm sure, but needs to be very careful not to tread too far. This has been a more, I would say, a more prominent Riley McKay in race trim. Generally has struggled to really capitalise where it matters the most. Obviously, I won't blink just yet as now Oscar King goes for the lead now this time and finally breaks down Gregory Prisball here on lap 25. ACW receiving yet another penalty, but Oscar King now taking the lead away from Gregory Prisball. Now, is that him sending a message saying, right, time to take it home? Has Prisball got it in him to respond?
Yeah, Oscar King really pumping that battery at the start of Sector 2 and set that pass up nicely, heading into the DRS zone. He was a lot closer than before, used that extra battery that we were talking about, puts himself out in front, now finds himself 5/10 ahead with 4 laps remaining. Great move by Oscar King to become the leader of this Grand Prix.
Well, over to you, Gregory Prisball. Are you going to respond against Oscar King's move? At the moment, they still remain well within DRS. This is far from over just yet. We're going to find out now.
Absolutely, and the question... Yeah, sorry, you go.
We're going to find out now as to who has got the bottle to take it to the checkered flag. Just over 3 laps or so to go. And King, Prisball, McKay holding station as your front 3. And King, I'm sure, is going to come under fire with Prisball hovering all over his tail.
Absolutely. The question is, has King gone too early? We've got some racing, and he goes wheel to wheel with Gregory Principal. He pumps the battery just like Oscar King did a lap before, and Gregory shows Oscar King that he is no chump to be played with. Goes back into P1, does Gregory Principal.
A message received and responded, and it's going to be responded by Riley McKay as well, who moves into second at Twitch though, and that's opened the door for Principal to grow the gap. It's gone near enough beyond a second, or has it? It remains inside 9/10. Principal with enough of a gap now, moving on to lap 27, 3 or so laps to go. It's Principal, McKay, King now demoted from the lead to third in one single lap alone.
We were absolutely wondering when Riley McKay was going to make his move, and we were wondering whether he was an imposter or he deserved to be there, and showing that he deserves to be there, overtakes Oscar King. And for Gregory Principal, like you said, had a bit of a snap of oversteer after that overtake, and now finds himself 8/10 ahead of Riley McKay. Can he break DRS and end the race right here?
And Riley McKay doing all this while he still is on 3 warnings. He is one step away from perhaps receiving a penalty which could bring an end to his efforts on winning this race. But just look at this from Gregory Principal, nearly over a second away from those in P2. Riley McKay doing a sterling job though of bringing it down, and has had all the time in the world to save these tyres whilst being sat in P3, watching the front two duel it out between them. Of course, they've all pretty much sat in formation for a good period of this second stint, but now we're seeing the top 3 lay down the markers here in the first round of the season. We're about to head on to the penultimate lap of the race, and Principal will lead them heading into turn 1.
Absolutely, and a marker of this game is how well can you manage your tyres. And I think from the front 3, that is going to be the tail of the tape. I wonder who has more grip. I wonder who has better tyres at this stage of the race. Campbell Adams, who's not racing tonight because he's 1,000 kilometres away from his rig, says that Riley McKay will win this and that he has faith. So Campbell Adams putting his money on Riley McKay to get his first win here in OFI.
Yeah, no question. Penultimate lap of this race now, and it's about to open up. 3 of the top drivers in the series over the last few seasons are now starting to fight it out over the first win, or the first W in the column, in this 10-round championship that we're going to be taking you through. Plenty of stories, like I said at the top of the show, to tell. And it looks like the first chapter is going to be a doozy. We're heading down in towards the fast left and right as we ignite turns 9 and turns 10 once more. And now stretching through towards the double right-handers of turn 11 and turn 12. And the final lap will then begin. Riley McKay, it'll be now or never heading on to the final lap in order to land a first win in the OFI. Has never won in this series before. Gregory Principal looking to make it 4 wins and level up with Jack Humphreys joined to the top for race wins, and they're catching the back markers. Joey Snarf coming down through turn 1 now as we speak, as now Riley McKay with the power of DRS looking to close the gap on Gregory Principal. Surely it's going to be teed up for the middle sector.
Yeah, absolutely. And Riley McKay with 55% battery as well. He's in a good position, good tyres, more battery. Obviously, the medium tyres hasn't worked for Ryan Cox down in P6. That's a bit of a side story. What a finish we have lined up here at Albert Park.
Not a great line taken either coming through turn 3. That might hinder him, though he has pulled it straight back in. We're running on board with the side pod of Riley McKay's car. Gregory Principal now taking them through this next phase where we'll then meet DRS once again, and surely Riley McKay is going to be digging deep. The rear wing is now open, looking to go full send on the back of the sister, part of the Red Bull family of course, but these two cars very much at odds with one another as they look to fight over the first win of the season. Here we go into the final sector now. Riley McKay in the wheel tracks here now. Gregory Principal diving to the outside, defending the place. Brilliantly done by the reigning champion, who now makes his way through the final few corners here at Melbourne. An astonishing race to kick things off. Riley McKay did his damnedest. That first win will have to wait. Instead, levelling it up with the all-time leading race winner, Jack Humphreys. It's Gregory Principal with his number 4 race win here in the OFI. He wins at Melbourne, and round 1 of the OFI Cup brought to you by Motorsport Australia. What an occasion! The first officially sanctioned F1 League event, aside from F1 sim racing itself, and Gregory Prisbill is its race winner. Astonishing from the reigning champion.
What an absolute opening round here at Albert Park. The front three, Prisbill, McKay and King, putting 5 seconds between themselves and Marcus Costa in the last 4 laps alone. Gregory Prisbill showing that you cannot buy class, showed every ounce of experience that he has here in his defending on the last lap, brings it home here at Albert Park. What a finish.
A remarkable race that was surely decided by that final lap, that grandiose defensive move from Gregory Prisbill, covering off the outside line, coming down in towards turn 11. There was nothing more Riley McKay could have done. He had to remain in second, but a great race on his part as well. Oscar King remains on the podium spots as well at the same time and will rein another one in. But it's been a phenomenal way to kickstart the new season. And plenty more to come, folks. We're just getting started here this season. So sit tight. The historical stats speak for themselves. Jack Humphries and Gregory Prisbill now level on 4 wins apiece over the entirety of the OFI, over the course of the many events and seasons we have had here at the Oceania F1 Invitational, and indeed the OFI crew, of course, made up of several Oceanic leagues. Gregory Prisbill now stands alone as well as the most successful podium sitter, now with 8 against his name. But Riley McKay levelling up with Al Karudin with 4 podiums in his pocket. Oscar King making it podium number 7 as well throughout the entirety of his time in the OFI. But the podium celebrations now in full flow, and it goes the way of Gregory Prisbill, who sprays the champagne. The reigning champion is back. Can anybody stop him? With 9 rounds left to go, they'll have their chances. But at the moment, a benchmark laid down, and it's a strong one too. As we take a look at the results, Gregory Prisbill is your race winner for the first time this season, and for a 4th time overall. Riley McKay in 2nd, Oscar King in 3rd. That makes up your top 3. Of course, the fastest lap going Riley McKay's way as well with a 1:17.434. Marcus Costa 4th, ahead of Jack Humphries. Points scored here for Humphries despite the penalties. Ryan Cox, Potato, Oxchillo, ACW, Matt Plevey, Joshua Lee. Of course, Plevey making up the last of the point scorers. MJ Roller, Jay Cashmash, Sebastian King, Joey Snarf, F1 Ferrari Pro, and T-Mac at the very bottom. High drama, everyone. What a phenomenal race we have just witnessed. Yet another new winner, and for the first time, a driver goes from lights to flag here in the OFI at Australia as well. Prisbill laying down a benchmark here at Melbourne too.
Yeah, Gregory Prisbill just showing that he is absolutely all class and picking up where he left off. Obviously, the reigning champion comes in probably in the shadow of Jack Humphries' OFI success and could leave the OFI Cup as an OFI legend, Gregory Prisbill. So what a start here. I thought Oscar King could finish it. I'm not sure what happens towards the end there, but obviously also Riley McKay showing that he's not just a quality merchant, not just Mr. Saturday, but he is chasing his first win and could very much have had it. But Gregory Prisbill just showing his experience and the way that he defends, especially that last couple of corners. Great race from Gregory.
It was absolutely fantastic to watch, wasn't it? A pleasure to watch, and I'm sure many of you enjoyed that as well towards the very end. The move, obviously, the move that was made by, of course, obviously at the end of the day, should I say Riley McKay, on taking full advantage of the moment of Oscar King after the move that was made from Gregory Prisbill to take the place back. It was stunning to watch, stellar, and obviously that was probably the best move, or the move of the race, in my opinion, on Riley McKay's part.
Oh, absolutely, George. I couldn't agree more, mate. And he had that little bit of a snap after he overtook Oscar, and I thought it could have been all over for the both of them. To be honest, it was a bit of a scary moment for those two. Could have been podium to the wall, but he kept it on track. But maybe that was the defining moment. Secured P2, but found himself a bit too far back to try and catch Gregory Prisbill in the last lap, even though Riley did have a little bit more battery than Gregory as well. So Gregory just showing all his class and all his experience there with less battery, winning that race.
Well, we're going to kick things off with interviews now, everybody. So we're going to bring in, first and foremost, the driver that finished in third place here in this one. Oscar King joins us in the commentary box, and we're going to talk to him, obviously, about his P3 visit. Oscar, welcome back to the OFI. Of course, we've got to firstly issue our congratulations on the appointment as engineer with the Ferrari team, working with Ismail Fassi and Barry Burrowman. I mean, that must be a true privilege. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, George. As you know, been working towards that for a little while, and it's nice to, get involved at the top level and work with those boys.
Yeah, obviously they've had so much success in recent seasons, and now with Ismail Fassi obviously proving to be certainly a revelation since his standout performances at Williams. Obviously some big moves being made with Ferrari, dropping Nicolas Longuet, moving with Ismail Fassi. What's it like working with pros at the very top level, honestly?
I mean, it's unreal. They remind me every day why I decided not to keep driving and start engineering, because they're world class. Hopefully we can go and fight for the world championship at some point next year.
Well, of course, that's got to be the goal, hasn't it? But obviously, just looking a bit closer to home, we're going to talk about the driving here this time. A grand effort back on the podium, and as I record it, your 7th podium in the OFI as a whole. A great race, but it looked like that Riley McKay just got the advantage on you. Obviously, you were fighting tooth and nail with Gregory Prisball through the early and the latter stages of the race, as we would have expected. Obviously, you both started on the front row. Obviously, do you see that being the dynamic moving through to the rest of the season?
Yeah, more or less. I think this Campbell's gonna come and drive, I think, for the future rounds, and he'll definitely be a challenge. But yeah, I just kind of munched my tires a little bit too much, as you can easily do on this game, and I knew that I'd have to get track position if I wanted any chance to win. And then I just didn't have the battery to defend. And obviously, just don't want to kind of make a side-by-side move into turn 11, and kind of it's just very risky the way that corner works. So, but yeah, I'll take the podium. It's a nice start to the season.
So was that the opening that Riley had? Was it down to the tyres, you believe, that kind of betrayed you towards the end?
Yeah, so obviously, I'm trying to kind of make progress all of that stint, and he's, as third man in the train, just chilling, saving his tyres, and he builds a delta on me, and ultimately, a bit to reflect on in terms of decision making on my part, but I obviously don't race that much, so but it was a good race. Points on the board going forward. It's a long season.
Yeah, I think you can be somewhat forgiven, I think, at this point. Obviously, we look ahead now to Losail next. Qatar, obviously, more runoff in comparison to Australia, largely a different track. How do you weigh up moving into round 2?
Yeah, so, I mean, Ferrari themselves didn't have the greatest result there the other day. But, yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed the track. I think this game, it's a little bit head loss with all the bumps and stuff, but I mean, I would expect more of the same in terms of ability to overtake, in terms of very little. So, we'll see how it goes.
Well, it's all part of the fun. Well done on your efforts, Oscar. We wish you the very best, and we'll see you for round 2.
Cheers, George.
Thank you very much. Oscar King, everybody, P3 here at Melbourne. And of course, we do have Riley McKay as well, with one of his, I would say, standout performances. Has yet to come away with a win so far in the OFI, but is on his way, surely, and had a great chance of doing it again, or doing it for the first time this time, just narrowly missing out, but tried his luck on the final lap. Riley, welcome back. I must say, you had to hold it together towards the bitter end, and of course, really the ending of each session, certainly as far as Q3 and indeed the race was, it just... little bits seemed to get in your way, didn't they?
Yeah, well, obviously Q1, Q2 was pretty good, P1 in both of them, and then I get to Q3 a bit of a sell, a bit of a shaky legs. The first 2 laps were just not it, and then I invalidate the final one and have to do a bail with slightly worse tires, and then at that point I've just got to take it on the chin and accept that pole was not worth potentially invalidating P and P10, I'll just take the top 5, just get the lap on the board, as I did. And yeah, luckily Potato started hard, not too sure why, honestly, which allowed me to get ahead of him on the opening lap, and I think a few others, I think Marcus and Jack did as well. So at the end of the day, I was able to still be in the fight with people that I needed to fight, that I see as championship rivals. For the race, yeah, but the race was, I'm sure I imagine, pretty boring. You know, first stint, I think I can't remember who was leading, Greg or Oscar, one of them, picked up the pace. I think they were, really dumping the battery, and that first stint was a bit more, setting the pace. I think they wanted to break the train, which allows for a bit more safety net for undercut risk, which we actually just did. I think Marcus almost got me with just one lap undercut, which shows how powerful it is. But one lap isn't enough to pass, so sort of safe from that point on. And I think Oscar had a lapse in judgment towards the end. With the move to turn 9-10, I think he probably thought that maybe, I don't know, he saved tyre, or I honestly don't know why he went for the move. But yeah, I got into P2. I had the tyre, but then obviously trying to push in the last few laps, tyre kind of went away from me, and I couldn't really get close enough to Greg. And I think Greg had probably a tiny bit of a pace advantage today. So yeah, GG's. P2 is still a good result, good points. It's 9 more rounds to go. Like, it's not the end of the world to not win the first round. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, Gregory Prisball, looking back to last season, didn't win every race. Obviously going on to win the championship, of course, but he finished on the podium in every single race that we run. So obviously, a great start in terms of your championship, obviously finishing in second. And quite clearly, the pace is there, obviously alluding to the first 2 sessions of qualifying with Q1 and Q2, you being fastest and by some margin as well. Especially that Q2 lap was absolutely stunning. Were you extremely frustrated that you couldn't correspond in Q3?
Yeah, well, the pace was definitely there. I think Greg as well. We shared PBs like 2s and 1s were on the table. And whether I think Greg's probably a bit disappointed as well with his lap, only P0.4. It's really a chance to showcase your skills, and even if you get lucky and it's not the best lap and you still get pole and P2, you still want to deliver the lap that represents what you've been doing in practice. And I definitely didn't do it. I don't think Greg did it, honestly, either. I think Oscar did. But yeah, definitely something I need to work on. Last season I got 3 poles, but other grimaces such as speeding in the pits and a couple of silly track limit penalties got in my way. So just a couple of things I got to tidy up and work on in the future to move forward and make progress in terms of just my racing. So yeah.
Well, it's all about progression. You've definitely come a long way, I think, since last season. And the good news for you is that still your sole sitting 4 pole positions, the highest number recorded in the OFI, is still there at the very top as well. So you'll probably be able to enjoy that at least a little bit. And you've also netted your 4th podium as well, levelling up with Al Karud in terms of number of podiums as well. So you're starting to enter your name into the rostrum of historical numbers at the same time. Looking ahead to Qatar, what are your thoughts?
I mean, if today was anything to go off of, probably don't want to start the quali again. I've not actually seen the esports races in terms of PSL F1 and WRT1, but I'm going to assume it's pretty hard to pass that. It always has been, even not on this game with the dirty air and stuff. So yeah, gonna have to dial in for quali. I think Campbell will be back. Campbell, F3 champion, of course. Really good talent, and a couple other guys. I think Ryan Bell would have been up there today. He unfortunately couldn't drive, and I think Yusuf maybe, but he might have had back surgery or whatever, so I'm not too sure what his progress in the game has been. But it would definitely not be such an easy race in Qatar. Also hard track with track limits as well as Australia is. So lot to think about for the race.
Yeah, well, we look forward to seeing it. Thank you so much for joining us, Riley. We wish you all the very best heading to Lost Isle as well. And you never know, could be the first race win just around the corner.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Riley McKay, everybody. Podium sitter once again for the 4th time in the OFI. We now bring in our race winner and, of course, returning reigning champion to the OFI as well. Gregory Prisball, back on the money once again today, equaling Jack Humphreys as a 4-time race winner and part of the overall highest in the OFI as well as a whole. Congratulations, Gregory. Welcome back. A stunning win at Melbourne.
Thank you, George. It's glad to be back. Missed league racing like this at a normal hour, so
well,
good fun.
I want to say, I mentioned this to Matt actually while we were watching your hot lap video, and we couldn't get over how chilled you were as you were making your way around, describing the corners as you were making your way around. Did you just take it all in your stride today? You were just, no concerns. You knew exactly what the game plan was.
Yeah, I mean, quali started quite poorly, to be honest. I think I was 7/10 off what I did in E-Series, so in Q1. Not ideal, but just slowly built my way up through quali. Ended up getting pole. And then, the race is pretty straightforward on this game. You just want to be leading on the last lap and hope you have more battery than the guy behind you. And seems like I did, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a stunning performance. Obviously, you've now netted not just your equaling the number of wins to 4 with Jack Humphries, but also the pole numbers now sit with you on 2. So you joined Jack Humphries, Ryan Bell, and Oscar King as 2-time pole sitters, and obviously just sat behind Riley McKay, who's just 2 in front of you. There was some good pace from Riley McKay today. Obviously, were you nervous at all, judging from what you saw in Q1 and Q2, that he seemed to be the class of the field in terms of quali trim?
Yeah, I mean, Riley's always rapid. He's got less hours in the game than us, or than me at least, and he's just flying. So was always a concern that he would be up there, but I just managed to get him in Q3, which kind of sealed the race, to be honest.
Yeah, and you're the all-time highest podium sitter with 8. Obviously, we mentioned about your season last year on taking the title. You were the only driver to actually take a podium in every single race through the course of last season. Is that the same vein of form you're going to look to continue with this time and become the second driver to take back-to-back championships this year? Is that the plan?
I mean, it's just trying my best every race and getting the maximum out of what I can do, and today we did that, so I'm happy with my result.
Brilliant stuff. What are your thoughts heading to Losail?
It's going to be a fun track. Hopefully don't get any track limit warnings, and strategy will be interesting there. Curious to see what people do. But I trust Miller to put me on the right strategy there. Great engineer.
Brilliant stuff. Well, there you go. Well, hopefully he'll have the answers for you anyway. But congratulations and welcome back, Gregory Prisball, to the winner's circle for the first time since last season. And we wish you all the very best heading to Qatar.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gregory Prisball, everybody, reigning champion, returning to the series and once again standing tall on the top step of the podium. I do want to bring in as well a special guest. We are here in the OFI, and he probably doesn't know I'm going to ask him to do this. But Slammer, welcome, first and foremost, because I think we need to talk about this. He can, of course, hear me. He is in the commentary box with us. Slammer, this is a hallmark moment, I think, for racing in league racing as well as for Aussie sim racing at the same time. The first time a series has been officially recognised by a motorsport governing body outside of F1 sim racing. And the honour is yours, my friend. I want to say, first of all, congratulations. And if you want to say a few words to the vast community you've created, we'd be delighted to hear it.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I told you I didn't want to say anything, and you got me good and
I don't
proper,
listen to things like that, Slammer.
Yeah, well, payback's a bitch too sometimes, but anyway, what goes around comes around. This is something that, I'll be honest, I've been losing sleep on for quite a while, just willing it to be a successful series, and yeah, we're 10% into it, but yeah, the support that we've had from Motorsport Australia has been unreal. And I think, like I've said, we can go back to the first time we met George, all those OFIs ago, that, we really do want to try and elevate this region specifically in this game. We're not having the best of support from our game developers, but we'll leave that aside. We can only do what we can do, and yeah, try and make the most with what we've got. The region in itself, look, go back a few years ago, we had Jack, who was right up there, at the very top, and everyone trying to catch him. And now you've got guys like Greg, like Riley, you got Oscar represented at the top level. Campbell winning PSGL F3, they're just starting to come through more and more. And I'm hoping, even if we've had a tiny little bit to do with that, as OFI, as you like to call it, then great, absolutely great, and long may it continue. And hopefully one day we get not an engineer only, and I won't say only because it's a massive step, but not just an engineer, but we'll get some drivers on there as well. We've blooded commentators. I know a lot of the comms guys look up to you, George, and want to be like George. And we've got drivers that want to be like Jarno, and we want drivers that want to be like Greg. We want drivers that want to be like Oscar. We want commentators that want to be like Matt and like Lindsay. So that's the aim, step by step. little bit by little bit, we'll get there. We are getting there. There's no doubt about it, but still a long way to go.
Well, it feels like to me that this year has been a defining year for Australian motorsport. Largely, you can factor in the fact that Oscar Piastri is in the title hunt, obviously first and foremost this year. Add on top of that with the first F1 sim racing Australian engineer in Oscar King. And at the same time, you've got the likes of Gregory Prisball, Campbell Adams winning, of course, in PSGL competition. You've got, obviously, at the same time, Gregory Prisball representing an E-Series as well. Riley McKay getting faster and seemingly more versatile behind the wheel by the looks of what we've seen today. Whilst, of course, Jack Humphries has admitted himself, obviously, in our live chat today, that he may be bowing out from the top flight. Obviously, he's almost sprouted a new wave of talent to come in behind him and take over the baton, you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said before, long may continue. Let's have, not one, not two, not three. Let's have 10 of the buggers up there, and all vying for spots at that, the very, very peak. And, George, you've been involved with that peak for a very long time as well. And, there's a bit of a gap there. And I think personally, I know for a fact that gap's getting smaller and smaller. And, one day we're hoping, someone from our region that may have started as a 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old, in their community league and then, into the OFI and, hopefully on the grid in Sweden or the Maldives or wherever they're going to do it.
Well, there's plenty more to come, that's for sure. We've got a 10-wide calendar, obviously, commencing this new season of OFI once more, so be sure to stay tuned. And, of course, remember, proudly supported by Motorsport Australia at the same time. If you want to check out the socials, I think we'll get this down as well. Matthew, just want to get your thoughts as well at the same time, because obviously we've had, discussions with the drivers off the back of that, obviously with the words of Slammer. What has OFI meant to you as a budding commentator?
I think it's been a massive opportunity to commentate with yourself, George. Probably the best commentator I know, mate. I'm not just saying that because you're here. I'll say it when you leave the room as well. But it's been a massive opportunity for myself. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I have to thank Slammer for the opportunity to jump on board with comms. It's been huge for myself because I love commentating and learning and gleaning off people like you as well, George, and seeing the best of the best. I think Slammer is extremely humble with what he's put together. I don't think people realise or understand how much effort and work goes into doing what Slammer does. I mean, I just run a small community league, and it's a massive amount of work. So, Slammer, kudos, mate, for what you do for the region, for Oceania, for Australian drivers, mate. Absolutely fantastic, and I'm with you all the way with that dream, mate. Let's get it.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Well, how about now we project the socials for everybody? First and foremost, Slammer, I want you to tell the good viewing folk at home where can they find out more about the OFI and, what can they look at in order to find out a little bit more about the series and the region in itself?
Well, there's a little link just below the screen there to our Discord. That's the main place. So jump onto the Discord server. That's where it all happens. We do try and communicate a little bit through Twitter or X, as you like to call it. Everywhere it's Oceania F1 Invitational, pretty much across the board. So go looking for that. But Discord's the main place. And yeah, get in contact. And if you want to help out as well, and if you've got anything to offer the region too, please, the more the merrier. Share the love around and let's all sort of work in the same direction, I suppose.
Absolutely right. Well, Matthew, where can they find out a little bit more about you as well? And can you give me your final thoughts on the race today? What was your thoughts and feelings coming off the back of round one?
Yep, so I'm Matt Skills everywhere, just about everywhere online, social as well. And you can join our Wallaby Racing League Discord as well, which you can find me there, especially if you want to join in some community races. We've got 4 tiers over there, and it's a good bunch of blokes and some fast guys over in tier 1 as well. Final thoughts. I mean, heart breaks a little bit for Riley McKay. I thought he was going to get his first win tonight. I thought he had a great qualifying, and we were wondering whether he was going to be an imposter or a contender. And I thought he did really, really well on the race. Thought he could have done it, but just falling short. Obviously, Potato starting on those hard tyres ruined his race. I thought it was the wrong strategy. And obviously that was a bit of a shock for me as well. Ryan Cox raced really well, but those medium tyres just died too quickly at the end of the race for him to make an impact, fell too far back. But moving to Qatar, I mean, Campbell Adams is back on the grid. Yusuf Saeed hopefully back on the grid after his back surgery. And hopefully Ryan Bell as well. So 3 fast guys to come into the fold. I think it's going to make it a lot more interesting.
It definitely will do. Big thank you to Matthew as well for you joining me on this broadcast as well. At the same time, of course, we're going to be seeing a huge flood of commentators coming through and offering their insights into the series as we make our way through the 10-race calendar. You can also check me out as well at George Morgan TV on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. It's all the same, folks. You can't miss it. But today, on all days, it was Gregory Prisball who would go on to take yet another victory in the OFI, his 4th on record, his first this season. Also now leveraging himself in a prime spot to reclaim the championship crown that he held off the back of last season. But there's still a long way to go. Plenty of names to enter the fold. Do stick with us. We'll see you for round 2. But from all of us here at the OFI, it's goodbye.